Well, I think, I have a pretty good resume. I think the history of our decision-making overall has been pretty good. And I think, the best way to approach this is, recognize that you do have a problem, admit it, and then try to find a solution. And we understand that. And I'm not trying to sit here with you right now and try to defend what we did and blame other people. I know that we made mistakes, and we're going to try to get it right.
Let's get nasty on a Wednesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN with Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 202, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. The voice you heard, John Mozeliak, the president of baseball operations for your St. Louis Cardinals, talking last night on Fox 2 to Martin Kilcoyne. We had talked about what we could hear, what we wanted to hear all day yesterday. Well, we got the audio, Jamie.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I actually felt like John Mozeliak was being pretty honest. As honest as he could be corporately. Mm-hmm. I mean, what did you get, your takeaway? Because I expected some fluff, the Trojan horse answer, where somewhere in what he's saying is the truth, but he's not telling you exactly what he's thinking or saying. I thought for John Mozeliak, that was pretty honest.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a nothing burger for the most part.
Really?
Him
admitting fault and that they could have done things differently? You don't see that as like...
There's too much, in my opinion, Jamie, there's too much left for interpretation when he says something like, going back to last offseason, there are things, in hindsight, we could have done differently.
Yeah, but what's he going to tell you?
Is he talking about Wilson Contreras? Is he talking about starting pitching?
I think that's where my mind went. Mm-hmm. I know Alex and Tanner at the start of BK and Ferrario, Alex was all about Wilson Contreras.
Right.
I don't necessarily believe that to be true. I don't think that's what he meant.
I don't either. I heard T-Bone and Alex talking about it, and I know Alex was very passionate talking about it. He was talking specifically about Wilson Contreras. I didn't get that impression either. I got the impression that he was talking about the starting pitching and then being more aggressive when it comes to adding to that starting pitching.
Yeah.
The hindsight for him comes in, well, we have 6 starting pitchers. No, you don't. So I think the hindsight for him came in.
They didn't have 6 good ones.
Right. They have 2 good ones.
We're just going to be honest.
Yeah. Did they have even 2 good ones? The starting staff was the highlight issue heading into the season. The spotlight was on the starting staff. For me, I'll only talk about me. When I watched the team in spring training or the parts of players going to the WBC and just kind of looking at the WBC and spring training combined, I fell in love with the offense so much that I started to convince myself that the starting staff will be just fine. Miles Michaelis will pitch to the back of his baseball card. Jordan Montgomery will pitch to the back of his baseball card. Boy, Jack Flaherty could be that swing guy. He could be the X factor. If it's the great version of Jack Flaherty, look out. If it's the bad version of Jack Flaherty, well, they can address it at the deadline. That hasn't been the case, as we know now. But going back to last night with John Mozeliak, you're right. What else? We kind of knew what he wasn't going to be direct. He was going to say, I made all these mistakes and here's the issue. I didn't even get that moment. You referenced it as the Trojan horse moment. I didn't even get that.
Yeah. Well, he kind of did with when he's talking about the pitching and how they had internal options and they did try external options. So he's trying to tell you that he made an offer and the player didn't like it and went somewhere else. I looked at that as Rodon.
Right.
And so that's where I went with that as far as like Trojan horsing, like the actual truth inside of what he's saying. Mm-hmm. That's where my head, but it's also, again, it's left up for interpretation.
Right. There is one thing that he said that we'll get into next segment. There was one thing that I extracted and at least said to myself, okay, good. At least the vision is there. We'll see if the execution is at the deadline. But again, we'll get into that next segment. But going back to, again, we're talking about the John Mozeliak interview with Martin Kilcoyne of Fox 2 last night following the All-Star game. Congratulations to the National League, by the way.
First one in the last 10.
Snapped a losing streak, so good job. Good job there, National League. But going back to the Mo interview, the other thing that if you read between the lines, boy, he reads things. I don't know if he listens to bozos like you and I, but he certainly reads, whether it's Twitter or the media.
I felt like it was actually directed right at us. At one point, he made eye contact with the camera, and he was staring into my soul, reprimanding me for gutting him on the air.
I've heard you, Jamie Rivers.
I know
and
what
Anthony
you said.
Stalter. Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry, Mo. I'm
He
still
listens.
harboring the fact that you wouldn't go into business with me when I had all the ideas. It's not my fault.
Let me
you
rephrase.
did this to you, Mo.
This is your fault. Let me rephrase. I don't know if he listens again, but he definitely reads. When he says something like, "Well, you know, I do a lot in the community, and I go out and I'm out there, and people look at me, and face to face, they're very empathetic. You know?
Yeah, they're
and
scared of Mo for sure.
And when I read, I read all the anger. I read all the haste, and yet I was left, Jamie, with the thought of, you still don't realize how ticked people are, because he started to talk about the urgency. And, well, you know, what does that mean? You know, bold means spending, and I don't know if you're going to see that. And, well, sure, urgency. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit more urgency.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Right.
So, Anthony, let me ask you an honest question.
How ticked Cardinals fans are.
So let's isolate that comment.
Sure.
How mad Cardinals fans are. Let me ask you something, and I want the truth from you, okay? If you're John Mozeliak and you're halfway through a bad season, but you've been in the postseason for a pretty good string, and the franchise overall, since you've been there, John Mozeliak, not as a president, but since 1997, I believe, is when he came on board, the franchise has been pretty good. Are you really sitting there listening to an angry fan base after one bad half a season? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Is John Mozeliak really supposed to sit in his office and go, well, this is one bad half of a season since 1997, and boy, our fans are angry, and we need to hear them.
What would you do, though? So you got the same track
I'm a
record.
way different personality than Mo.
So what I expect Mo to do is exactly what he did last night. Be the steady Eddie guy. There's a little melancholy there, a little bit, you know, it hasn't worked out. It should have worked out.
I would have been way more direct. I wouldn't have talked about players or positions. As far as like current players or players that I was in on, I would have just said, hey, look, we were in on a few players that we thought could help the club. It didn't work out. At that point, we pivoted and realized that we have to now look internally. So this is where the risk was with this. Was we were hoping that internally we could handle the barrage that would be this season. It didn't work. We're going to be looking to fix that problem at the deadline. We have some contracts that are coming up. If these players aren't interested in being Cardinals long term, they will be somewhere else. But yes, this has not been the first half has not been the season we wanted, and we need to get back to being a team that is at the top of the division.
See, I concede your point about Mo and what he's going to say. Completely agree. But you, as a business owner, and in that spot, you're not just sitting down with Martin Kilcoyne.
No.
You're sitting down with your stockholders,
100%.
which is your fan base.
100%. You're having a board meeting right there, live on TV.
You're not talking to Martin Kilcoyne.
No.
Nice job there, Martin. I mean, you do a great job. Yeah. But you're talking beyond Martin Kilcoyne. And what would you, Jamie Rivers, do if you had the sense, the good sense, that your fan base is ticked off, your stockholders are ticked off?
Give them information and let them know that the organization is heading in a direction to right the wrongs. That's it. Like, we can't fix it right now. In the moment, in real time, whatever I do trade-wise, what is not probably going to fix the problem. But whatever I do will fix the problem for next year.
Yeah.
So at this point, Cardinal fans, you need to trust in me and in the organization that we're going to put a winning product back on the field next year. A lot of the pieces will be staying. So if you're thinking it's going to be an absolute clean out, it's not. There are a lot of pieces that are staying. There are a few that are leaving, and we're going to add some in the offseason. Next season will look much different than this season.
Yeah, we're gonna do things starting at the deadline to fix this thing in a hurry.
That's right.
And if you don't trust me, okay, at least allow me to show you that I can do so.
Because you know why? It's the show me state.
It's the show me state. You're darn right.
Is
Marsh,
there a
what do you think?
difference? Well, I don't think I got the answers that I was expecting. And I think I had the expectations where we would get like some very groundbreaking answer that would sort of change the tide of the season. We didn't really get that. We got exactly what Mo has been. You called him like a steady Eddie. And so I wanted to present the question to you. If he is that steady Eddie type of Pobo, GM, whatever you want to call him, he's the Pobo. But would you rather have a guy who is urgent but yet patient, or someone who's making a rash decision based on 1 year of bad baseball?
I want somebody, in my opinion, to not view it as 1 year of bad baseball.
Okay.
And I've stated that for 2 weeks now. And Marsh, it's a good question, but for me, I've been on it. I've been direct about this. This is not a one-off. This is a pattern. And I did a little homework.
Oh, look at, what is that
What
thing
is that
you're
thing?
holding
Man,
up?
he is just ripping papers left and right.
You have a dog?
This is my workout now. I just start ripping paper.
Now you're working up to phone books, are you?
Yeah,
boy.
oh yeah.
Old strong man over there.
But by the time the clear camp is ready to go, I'll have the phone book ripped up.
So impressive.
But it's not a one-off for me.
But when I listen to John Mozeliak there, and this is going to sound wrong, but John Mozeliak can tell the fan base whatever he wants while still having the plan that he's going to execute.
True.
For sure.
Like he can say,
he lie right to everybody's faces.
We're going to make moves. We're going to do this, and you get everybody on board. And then he's actually trying to do all this stuff. But then if he falls short, like what?
Right.
He still made some improvements. So that's why I believe in giving as much information that can be factual. I don't like the overselling of something and then underproducing. Give them the direct, even undersell it a little bit and then try to outdo what you said at the deadline and in the offseason.
Undersell, overdeliver.
And I thought when he was talking about him and the rest of the organization really believing that this team would be a good team, I believe that. Now, you can question whether or not them making the right moves in the offseason to get to that point, to be a good team. You can question their philosophy on that, but I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I think some fans believe that, they don't want to win. They just want to win the division.
No,
I think that from that conversation, I believe that they thought this was a good team.
Right.
They really believe that.
What's the bigger problem?
That's the question. And maybe we'll get into that today.
It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. So there was one thing, like I mentioned, that Mo said last night where I paused and I said, okay, good. Show us now. Because it's the show me state, Jamie. Yeah.
Well done.
We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
It is heating up here in St. Louis. We know that at one point it's going to be nothing but 100-degree weather, and boy, oh boy, it would be awful if you had an air conditioner that wasn't working properly. That's why our guy Ron, the Wizard of Comfort, he's got so many great ideas. One of them's the Magic Tune. It's only $69. It's a 29-point cooling system check to ensure that your cooling system is working properly for the St. Louis heat. Anthony, it's one of many great things.
I wish I had the Magic Tune so that I was well aware that our AC system was going to go out, and I could have prevented what happened earlier this year, which is that we didn't have AC in the Stalter household for about a week or so. It got nasty. I know you had the same thing. You didn't have to replace your entire unit. I know you're using the Magic Tune courtesy of Ron, the Wizard of Comfort and Swiss Air. I got an entirely new unit. They were incredible, Jamie. I mean, the prices on the units beat the competition. We had 5 different bids. Swiss Air crushed it. The warranty crushed it. And the service, the guys came out, did a great job, left the place looking better than when they came in. Swiss Air's outstanding. But get the Magic Tune, especially if you're worried about extending the life of your current system and saving money over the long haul.
Give them a call. Ron, the Wizard of Comfort's going to take care of you. Tell them that Stalter and Rivers sent you in. That number is 636-978-7800, 636-978-7800, or visit SwissAirSTL.com.
I'm not saying this is going to happen. The Cardinals go on a 15-game winning streak and still make the playoffs and stuff. But what if? What if they do win 15 straight and still make the playoffs? What will you say then about the Cardinals and Mo's plan and all that? Not that I'm a Mo fan. I'm just a Cardinal fan and want them to find a way anyway to still, make the playoffs and stuff.
We're not necessarily like waving the white flag, but all decisions or all moves we do really will try to set us up for next year.
All right, so that was the first voice you heard was Vic, who left us a mic drop. You can always participate in the show, and we love having you join us. You can participate a couple of different ways. One, like Vic did, via the 101 ESPN mobile app. You can leave us a mic drop. Talk about anything that we're discussing throughout the course of the day today. Our Air Comfort Service text line is 314-399-9646, and we've got the Sports Six-Pack coming up at the bottom of the hour. So if you want to start sending some questions to the Air Comfort Service text line, you can. Or we're live now on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is at 101 ESPN STL. We'll take questions there, too. But I'll answer Vic's question, Jamie, in correlation with what Mo said. And that audio is courtesy of Fox 2, as Martin Kilcoyne did an exclusive last night with John Mozeliak that was aired after the All-Star game. So Vic asked, well, what would you guys say about the game plan if the Cardinals were to go on this magic run? Here's what I'll say to that. What did Mo do at the deadline? Because to me, everything that he said last night was just kind of, okay, all right, until he got to that point. When he mentioned, and you heard the audio, that the Cardinals will make moves or decisions that are based on next year's team, I'm in. Now prove it. What do you do at the deadline? Do you trade the expiring contracts? Do you pick up some pitching that you can plug into your rotation in the second half? Young guys, I'll just refer them as Sandy Alcantara types. it'd be nice if they got, a Cy Young contender. But what I mean is guys that could join the starting rotation in the second half and then be in the rotation next year. Do you add one or two of those guys? Because if you do, supplement that with a couple of youth movement moves, such as bringing up Mason Wynn to play shortstop, having Ivan Herrera split time with Wilson Contreras in the second half, and then you go on a run. I would say that Mo understood that his team wasn't good enough at the deadline, realized he had to do something about it, and now is starting to reap some rewards. If they stand pat or they just add a Rich Hill type saying, we can still get in this thing, and then they go on a 15-game winning streak, I would say your plan really didn't work. And this is the worst-case scenario. Because your ass is going to get bounced in the first round again, and we're going to be doing the song and dance again in the offseason. That's my take, Jim.
They're not going to do that. They're not. I mean, John Mozeliak, as reserved as he is and as close as he holds his cards to his vest, he told you last night that everything they're doing is planning for next year. So John Mozeliak is not going to be making trades or acquiring players to make a run this year. If it happens, like you said, if you do all these things and you go on a run and somehow get close or get in, great. That makes next year, even you have a springboard into next year already. But I don't think John Mozeliak for 1 second is sitting in his office today or yesterday thinking, man, who can I go get that can help us turn this around?
Right.
I don't think so. If you do see a Rich Hill or a Lance Lynn or a player of that nature,
Zach Greinke,
it's to get them over the hump this year. And I don't mean like into the playoffs. Just get through the season so that some of your arms aren't ripped out of the socket on some of your pitchers, specifically your bullpen.
What would that remind you of, Jamie?
What
you just described.
Oh, Doug Armstrong.
No. I mean, what year would that what you just said? Hey, get us over the hump. Just get us to the offseason. We made a couple of smaller moves, bring in some pitchers, eat some innings. What would that remind you of?
I'm not following.
John Lester and Jay Happ, right?
Yeah, but the team was competitive.
The deadline.
They went on the run after that.
Exactly. So you weren't good enough.
I forgot the timeline.
Yes. The reason why Mo made those moves, and we sat there at Ballpark Village that day, and to a man we said, what the hell is this?
What just happened?
what are you doing? And Mo...
Jay Happ said it. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
You want me? My ERA is like 8.
Yeah, what are we doing here, John?
The game plan was simply, we need to buy some time, not ruin our young pitchers' arms, and get to the offseason and reevaluate. And what the Cardinals did that year was went on an epic run.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
And what happened?
Well, then
They still lost. The team isn't good enough.
No, I know.
So to get back to Vic's question about what would you guys, and I don't think he was provoking. I think he was asking a serious question. But what would I say? I would say, you haven't learned anything. You haven't learned anything. You can't merely get into the postseason anymore. There's too many teams that make it.
Anthony, the Phillies.
Okay.
Last year.
You have that talent? Do you have 2 aces? Because that's what the
only won
Phillies had.
82 games last year. They limped into the wild card and went to the World Series.
I'll ask again. Do you have Aaron Nola and Zach
recency?
Wheeler?
It was last year, Anthony.
Do you have those 2 guys?
Give me a guy. Name a guy.
I didn't realize that Miles Michaelis turned into Aaron Nola.
He could.
When did Jordan Montgomery turn into a right-handed version of Zach Wheeler? You tell me.
Are you going to start with the pitching?
Don't tick me off.
Why don't you just go with the easy tap-ins?
Don't tick me off.
Let's go position players.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's go.
Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber. Who's our Kyle Schwarber?
Alec Burleson.
No. Contreras.
Okay. I'll still take Schwarber. Well, JT Realmuto.
You've got Paul Goldschmidt.
Bryce Harper.
Nolan Arenado. What?
Nicholas Castellanos.
Jordan Walker.
Okay.
I'm screwing with you, but I'm not at the same time.
You really want to do this at 2:30? You want to do this
That's all you
early
got
in the
today,
show?
huh? You're already tapping out.
This early in the show?
Just tap out. Anthony.
Rhys Hoskins.
We're still playing this game?
Sure. That's what the Phillies had last year. Alec Boehm.
I'd have to take a look at that lineup. I bet I could match it.
You go for it, Jamie. Unbelievable.
Just get in, Anthony. You just never know. No,
All right.
I'm totally joking with that, by the
I know
way.
you are.
I'm just getting you all upset. Look at you right now.
I'm flustered.
Marcy, look
I'm
at him.
ticked off.
Look at him. Red in the face a little bit.
The hands are going to start flowing here in a second.
They already are. You got a pen out, and I know whenever you start clicking the pen and writing down, like, you're getting pissed. Lighten up, Francis. Okay? Just lighten up.
No, this team's in last. This team's in last.
They are in last.
And we're talking about, well, what if they get on a 17-game winning streak?
About that. You said
Come on.
You said it.
So at some point, we're going to grow up here.
Anthony, between you and I right now, the two of us.
At some point, we're going to stop believing in unicorns.
Who's the one that said they went on a 17-game tear? Was that you or was it me?
You.
No, you're lying because everybody now can see and hear everything we're doing. You're lying. It's not good. Your children might be watching YouTube right now, Anthony.
I hope not.
You cannot lie.
They're in camp right now.
They are?
Doing fun stuff.
Ah, good for them.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the Cardinals, that's for sure.
No, they are thinking about the Blues, though.
Yes, they are.
You guys are such idiots.
Well, Janet,
we've never refuted that. It's always sunny in St. Louis. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Are you looking to remodel your kitchen or your bathroom? Upgrade it, tear all that old stuff out, looking for new countertops, whatever it is you're looking for, head down to EMB Granite for a no-obligation consultation with all of my friends down there. They had a great facility. It's located at 6135 Manchester Avenue. And when you walk in, you've got the showroom, and the representatives are going to talk to you, find out what your vision is. Maybe you don't have a vision. That's where they can help you as well. I had no vision at all on what I was going to do with my kitchen. The sales representative walked me through it, and it was awesome. And when you go in the back, you get to see all of the wonderful countertops, whether it's granite, quartz, marble, soapstone. E&B Granite has exactly what you need to complete whatever job you're looking to accomplish with your kitchen or your bathroom. All you have to do is give them a call. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number's 314-645-9300. That's 314-645-9300, or you can visit them at enbgranite.com.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The National League picks up a victory yesterday in Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. 3-2 win. City SC in action tonight, taking on LAFC 9:30 kickoff. We'll get into City SC later throughout the show. We're joined by Jeremy Rutherford and Eddie Olczyk today, talking some Blues hockey. Why is that? Because a former Blue and Oskar Sundqvist is returning to St. Louis. We'll get into all the details next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
Also not able to clear. Shot by Sundqvist. He scores! The Blues' fourth line does it again.
They make terrific pair. They went together like lamb and tuna fish.
That's right. Would you prefer peanut butter and jelly? Oskar Sundqvist signs a deal with the Blues today for league minimum. And this was a player that, and by the way, that audio, 2019 Western Conference Finals, when the Blues knocked off the Sharks en route to, it's stop.
Does it still
Just
sting?
stop.
A little bit?
No, it doesn't sting.
Usually you well up a little bit.
No.
It's all right.
I don't like the Sharks. I mean, Sharks, cool fish. I think we could all agree. Shark Week.
So I don't feel like you're
One of
talking
the
about the
greatest
actual
weeks ever.
shark. I feel like you're Trojan horsing it about your San Jose Sharks.
No. Jaws, one of the top 3 movies ever made.
Anthony, are you going to see Meg 2?
Probably not. Now, why is there a Meg 2? You went
Because one wasn't enough.
You went beneath the surface even more.
You don't like
on another one?
megalodons? You just like normal sharks.
Well, no. I mean, a megalodon is fantastic.
San Jose Megalodons don't exist, Marshy.
No,
Not
they
yet.
don't. Could be a minor league affiliate.
So Oskar Sundqvist. Now, this is a player, Jamie, that you had talked about a month ago. How the Blues should entertain bringing
Army
back
was
Sonny.
listening again. It's okay, Doug. I'm here for you.
Sonny's been going to the soccer games,
The clues were all around us.
going up in the arch.
Yeah.
Saw him at the Free Zoo.
This is a great signing.
Saw him at the Penguin.
Well, he
place there.
still has a home here, Anthony. He
Loves
calls.
it here.
He always said he calls St. Louis home. Well, now he can at least call it home for another year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a wonderful signing by the Blues. Look, I don't know what version of Oskar Sundqvist we're going to get. He's been injured. He's been battling the injury bug for a couple of seasons now. But right now, you slot him in as your fourth line center. If he's healthy, he can play up and down your lineup. And you know what you're getting? You're getting a guy that he cares about the team. He penalty kills. He can play the power play. Heck, never mind. Never mind me telling you about it. Craig Berube was on the balloon party this morning with Chris Kerber, and this is what Chief had to say about Oskar Sundqvist.
Sonny's been a real good player for us. He obviously had some injuries with his knee that took some time to recover from. But he's feeling good. His knees are feeling good. So I'm excited to have the guy back. I really enjoyed coaching him. He brings a personality, brings that gamesmanship on the ice. He plays a hard game every night, which is important. He leads the way that way. So Oscar's a very well liked guy on our team with the players, coaches, management. So we're excited.
He's also a guy that embodies everything you want your team to be when you're Craig Berube and his staff.
Yep.
You lost Ryan O'Reilly last year via trade, and then he signed in Nashville this year. Ryan O'Reilly embodied a lot of the same qualities as Oskar Sundqvist. Are they the same player? No, of course they're not the same player. But you're trying to get that culture back to what you want it to be, and Sonny's a great way to do that. And slowly but surely here, Anthony, Doug Armstrong has done one hell of a job of retooling this team into a playoff contender. Can I take a second and run through my mock lineup?
Yeah.
So as I got to the office today, I started checking some things out and looking at some numbers, and I came up with this as my lineup. If you have first line, be Pavel Buchnevich, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou. Mm-hmm. Your second line, Brandon Saad, Braden Shen, Kasperi Kapanen. Why Kapanen instead of Verana? Kapanen plays better with Braden Shen. Statistically, he's had more success with Braden Shen than Verana has.
Right.
Your third line would be...
Wait, how did you know that? Gut?
No, Anthony. The analytics told me that.
Well, analytics are garbage.
You're right. I just had a feeling that was the case.
That's old school hockey. Thank you, Jamie. Continue.
You're welcome. My third line is Verana, Hayes, and Sammy Blais.
Okay.
Jake Neighbors may be able to get up there. Him and Sammy Blais might play a little of the back and forth between third and fourth line. But then my fourth line is Neighbors, Sundqvist, Toropchenko. That's a pretty good lineup. Like, it doesn't scream Stanley Cup contender right away.
It's deep, though.
It is. And thank you for noticing. And the Blues, though, with a lineup like that, they can compete. They can compete to get in the playoffs. And then when you die, so your extras at this point would be Mackenzie McEachern and Nathan Walker. You still have Alexandrov and Zach Dean that, probably be in Springfield. And you go to your defense core. And this is the big question mark, is your D-core. Because can they improve from what they were last year? Because there are no changes per se. Perunovic now will be on a one-way contract, which means he'll be here all year, and so will Tucker. But there's no real changes. So you got Leddy and Parayko, Krug and Falk, Perunovic, Bortuzzo, Tucker, Scandella. And you got Rosen as your ninth guy. That's a good lineup.
Jamie,
it's a solid lineup.
You always talk about playing defense. It's a five-man unit. I mean, it's not just the defenders. With the additions that Army has made since the deadline, and given your lineup projection there with those line combinations as is, does this group of forwards offer a better defensive lineup than a year ago? Or is it still, we'll see? Because we focus so much on the defenders.
Yeah.
But as we've talked about, I mean, the forwards need to participate as well.
I don't know if it's tough to say it's better because you had Barbashev and O'Reilly last year on your team too up front. Those are pretty reliable defensive forwards. You had Noel Achari, who was pretty reliable as well. But I believe that this forward group is deeper to a man. And when you have Sundqvist on there, and you've got Shen, you've got Bucci, you've got Saad, those guys are pretty responsible. The question marks up front are going to be Thomas and Kyrou, Verana, and Sammy Blais. Those are your question marks, like, can they bring the 200-foot game all the time? Sammy Blais certainly showed us a lot. After the trade deadline, he was phenomenal here, and they went on to play at the World Championships and was really, really good there as well. So I think Sammy Blais trending in the right direction. You know, Toropchenko, this is a kid that's ready to make the next strides. He's a very responsible player up front, too. He gets in on the forecheck. He's a big body. You know, Kevin Hayes, he's also a very intelligent player. He's a big body. Can he bring a consistent 200-foot game? This is where the Blues, for me, there's a question mark about, you know, whether or not they can get to the playoffs is, can these guys consistently do their job? But to your point, Anthony, talking about Craig Berube and talking about five-man units, Chief was talking about that as well earlier today, and here's what he had to say.
Well, I think the forwards are a big part of it. You know, you need everybody on the ice to do the job defensively. It's not just the D. Too much, in my opinion, was put on the defense core, and that's not fair. The forwards are just as much to blame. They're just as much to, that they have to help out. It's on all of us. It's not on one area. You know what I mean?
Yep.
On the coaches and the players. And we got to do a better job next year. We didn't do a good enough job. And like I said, if you don't play good defense, and I'm not talking about not trying to score goals or anything like that. Just check. And good things happen the other way when you check. And we got to do a better job of that, of the checking side of things. And that's really a team commitment. And it's selflessness, that when you play good defense and do them little things that are needed, you're being a selfless hockey team. You have success most of the time.
That's what a guy like Oskar Sundqvist brings to the table as well. It's team first mentality. We've seen it over and over again with him. He never is it about Oskar Sundqvist. So I think that with the guys that you brought in here, with the Kapanen and Verana on the reclamation projects, for me, they've exceeded expectations already. Hopefully they keep trending that way. Hayes, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to show the entire hockey world, specifically maybe the head coach in Philadelphia, that this is a true all-around player. And that he can play for a tough coach because he's going to be playing for Craig Berube. It has nothing to do with not being able to play for a tough coach. You had Neighbors. He's got something to prove. He wants to be a full-time NHLer. Toropchenko, full-time NHLer. You have a lot of guys now that have a reason to be prepared for the upcoming season. So I really like everything so far that Doug Armstrong has done. I specifically really like the Oskar Sundqvist signing.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. If you got a question for us, you can text in 314-399-9646. That's our Air Comfort Service text line. We've got our Sports Six-Pack next on 101 ESPN. Before coming into the office today, I went out to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, talked to the great team out there. Josh, shout out to Josh, who's in the service department. He had 101 ESPN listen. He was listening while working on some vehicles. Chatted with him for a little bit, but I had a minor service repair, got a little staple in the tire, went in, took care of me. They do a great job. It's not just about, having great, sales or great deals, and they certainly have that at Auto Center Nissan Herculaneum. It is about taking care of you, the customer, from sales to service, and they do that better than any dealership that I've worked with throughout my driving time. So when it comes to Auto Center Nissan Herculaneum, check them out. One location. That's all it is. It's in Herculaneum, great spot, brand new facility. They have over 700 vehicles. Whether you're looking at new Nissans or certified pre-owned vehicles, they've got them for you, again, in one spot. You don't have to travel around all over the place, go to different spots to find the vehicle that you're looking for. No, they got them right there in Herculaneum. Go check them out. 30-day return promise, free nationwide lifetime warranty. The best deals that you're going to find in the St. Louis and Illinois area, they're the best. Tell them Stalter sent you. Auto Center Nissan Herculaneum.
You've come to the right place. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
I have a question.
It's time for the fast lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with your questions via the Air Comfort Service text line for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number one.
All right, guys, we were just talking about Oskar Sundqvist and his return to the Blues from the 314. What do you think the starting five will be for the Blues in the season opener?
Starting five. Wow. Okay. Well, hockey's a little different than basketball as far as that's concerned, because sometimes you start the five guys that are a better matchup versus the other team, because when you're the home team, you get to submit your lineup second. It's like matching lines. So it's not always like, who's your starting five?
Right.
Nah, who's my starting five tonight? Depending on who they play. But
who's your top line? Who's your top pair of
the
defensemen?
top line's easy. It's Booch, Thomas, and Kyrou. It has to be. It has to be. Those are your three most dynamic players up front. They have to be your starting three. And on defense, if I was to pick just two defensemen, I mean, it would be Parayko and Falk. Now, they're both right-handed shots, so that's, But if I'm going with my two best defensemen, it's Falk and Parayko. If I'm going with the starting pair to go with those guys, if I was starting Booch, Thomas, and Kyrou, I would start Krug and Falk. Puck movers with dynamic talent. Then I'd come back with Schenn, Saad, and Kapanen, Leddy, and Parayko.
What's your top power play?
Well, Anthony, that's kind of throwing me into a pickle here, but definitely Booch, Thomas, Kyrou. I think that you're going to probably want Kevin Hayes, net front presence, or Braden Schenn, net front presence, and then you have to go with Torrey Krug. You have to.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he's your quarterback.
Well, he's one of the most productive defensemen, point-wise, on the power play for the last decade.
Yep.
You have to go back to him. If that doesn't work, then you can start to dabble with Perunovic on the first unit. But, you got to give Torrey Krug his chance to redeem, or to take his spot.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Question number 2.
Guys, I saw this question on Twitter yesterday posed by Adam Reed, who is the communications assistant for the Atlanta Gladiators, a.k.a. Anthony's favorite ECHL team. The question is, if you were a professional athlete, which 5 teams are on your no-trade list?
So any sport,
or we can categorize certain sports.
Where did you see this?
It was on Twitter.
That's
was
really
it the
good.
Heat Daddy?
I saw it from a guy named Adam Reed, who works for the Atlanta Gladiators of the ECHL.
Okay, because I saw it from the Heat Daddy.
Heat Daddy? I love Heat Daddy. He's always posting something.
That's a really fun question. All right,
what is it?
Are we doing any sport, or are we going to
break
isolate?
it up. I mean, we can make it our own, too. We could do maybe one or two from each professional sport.
So, hockey-wise, let's see here. Where would I not want to be? Kind of played everywhere, just saying.
I mean, one of my, I'll just say one of my, it might be number one, but the Cleveland Browns. I will not go to the factory of sadness.
What league are we starting with here? That'll make it easier for me. The NFL?
Anything.
No, we just start with
okay,
league.
well then,
because I'm looking at
the NHL. What do you have pulled up?
Well, you just went football.
I know, but what do you have pulled up?
Now I have the NFL pulled up. So
okay, well then
stay in our lane
NFL
here for a second. Jesus,
God,
like my kids just bouncing around
like
all
my
over
father.
the place. That's a joke. Did you just call me your father?
Yeah. Someone on YouTube said that Jamie could be your father.
You went. No, he could.
That's what they said.
No. The age gap is definitely not that wide.
Well, never know. Okay, so
Jamie was active. I don't know if he was that active that early.
At that age, my God. I'd be high-fiving myself. Anyways, the team that I would, Anthony, I hate to say it, but Cleveland just doesn't interest me at all. Like, even Arizona, they suck, but boy, I'd play in Phoenix or Scottsdale. No. Cleveland for me. Let's go to the NHL real quick.
Winnipeg. That's on my list.
No, you're wrong, man. What a city. What a city. If you play for the Winnipeg Jets,
I've been to Winnipeg.
Winterpeg is really, it's cold as hell in the winter. There's no doubt about it. But that's a really good fan base, great people there.
So I'm thinking from a where would I want to live standpoint. So you're looking at it from the fan base standpoint, and that's totally fair.
I'm actually looking at it from both standpoints.
From both?
And I feel like the fans, the positives outweigh the negatives when it comes to the weather there. Where I lean to in the NHL is there's a reason why everybody leaves Columbus.
Yeah. Columbus is a cool city, though.
It is if you're a college student.
That's true.
And the players who live there say the suburbs are fantastic. They resemble St. Louis. Beautiful homes, beautiful schools and neighborhoods. but I just don't know, man. There's something about it. I'm just, I'd be out on Columbus.
I am going to say the Coyotes.
You don't want to live in Scottsdale, Anthony?
I don't want to play for that organization.
You don't want to play in a college?
No.
You don't want to go back to college, Anthony?
I would like to go back to college, just not to play for a professional team like that. And the Royals would be the top of the baseball list there.
The Royals? Let me see. There's got to be somewhere worse than Kansas. I like Kansas City.
The city is fine. I'm not going to go to that. I mean, outside of the 2 years, the back-to-back World Series runs there, they've done nothing in 3 decades.
I don't even care. To me, I'd be circling back to Cleveland on this one. Or no, Baltimore. No, thank you.
You want to play for the Orioles?
Have you ever been to Baltimore, Anthony?
I've been to D.C.
Let me tell you a story.
That area.
I've been to Baltimore.
Let me tell you a story about Baltimore.
It's a
We're
beautiful
going back
park.
to 1993 or 94. Playing in Baltimore in the American Hockey League. They were called the Baltimore Bandits. They had a 4,000-seat arena that they probably sold 250 tickets for the games. You'd go out for the games, and like people would cheer for the home team. You'd be like, "Yay!" Hear like 10 people clapping. It was terrible. We stayed at the Days Inn Baltimore, Anthony.
Nice.
Quite the place. There was a live shooting in the hallway. We were in the hotel.
What were they filming?
No, nothing. It was gunshots, son.
Oh.
We were I was like, what the hell is that? We opened the doors. Guy's running down the hallway with a gun, shooting his gun. I was like, all right. Oh, hey, guys, don't worry about it. Everybody just go back to sleep. Everything's going to be just fine.
Was it the Bandit mascot?
No, it wasn't. No, I would have taken care of that.
Yeah, Jamie would have taken care of that. No, I think the Orioles would be a fantastic organization to play for. I mean, I love the park. I love their first-round pick a year ago. I think that
I do love that.
They would be great.
Yeah, that's great, Anthony. You can go there.
Okay.
In fact, I'll buy your ticket.
Fair enough.
What about the NBA? What?
OKC, no thank you.
I've been there. It's a nice spot.
I wouldn't want to play for...
If I'm trying to win, I definitely...
Utah.
Yeah, Utah,
I'm out on the...
Weird fans.
Salt Lake City is beautiful, though. It's beautiful.
I'm okay on that.
What about Charlotte? Cool.
No, Charlotte's awesome.
Charlotte
But their
would be...
team,
You know what?
is
I don't
awful.
want to be in Milwaukee. No thanks.
I think we could make that for every single sport.
Milwaukee,
Except for Green Bay. I think it'd be
Cleveland.
cool to play for Green Bay, even though I am a Vikings fan.
I think I could roll the dice on Cleveland, too, and have the same effect. Like, I wouldn't want to be a Cleveland Cavalier. I wouldn't want to be a Cleveland Brown. I wouldn't want to be
Blue Jacket.
I wouldn't want to be a Columbus Blue Jacket. I would not,
What the hell's wrong with Ohio?
The Guardians are okay, but that's... So I'll just do that. I'll just go Cleveland/Columbus across the board. I wouldn't want to go to Ohio State,
Yeah. I'm out.
Proud program.
I'm out on Milwaukee. I've spent a lot of time in Milwaukee. It's mid, to say the least.
There you go.
And they have haunted hotels, too.
They do.
Question number 3.
From the 573, Jamie, you'll appreciate this question. How did Pete Alonso go from dancing in the home run derby in 2021 to embarrassingly uptight the last 2 years? I wonder what his attitude is in the Mets clubhouse.
Oh, Pete Alonso, he's day-to-day right now with hurt feelings. He's not going to be able to play properly after sucking so bad at the home run derby. Quite honestly, if I was his teammate, knowing just what kind of a dork he is, I think the first thing I'd walk in and be like, man, that went rough, huh? That pitcher is pretty good. And just keep the feet moving. Be like locked into his kitchen cooking steak and eggs.
Did you not have the film on that starter that day, Petey?
You didn't know he had nasty stuff blowing outside?
You could bust one in on your hands, no?
How about yesterday? So we see a great play by Adolis Garcia. We see a great play by Randy Rosarena. I thought last night...
We get it, Marsh. They used to be in St. Louis.
Okay.
We get it.
Garcia had
Let
2
it
highlight
go.
reel catches.
Last night, Austin Riley makes a great play at third base. Pete Alonso on the other side of that with a nice scoop. I thought it was a good scoop. I thought when he's running off the field, maybe he'd be like, hey, great play. Like, we're excited. This is the All-Star game. Let's show some flair. He just straight face, walks off.
He was still pissed about the home run derby.
Goofball. Like, he just...
Like, is his personality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah, I'm out.
No thanks.
Put Pete Alonso on our no-trade teammate list.
Yeah, I couldn't play for
him.
Actually, no.
Aaron Rodgers.
I actually would love to play for the
So
Mets.
you can beat him up.
No, I wouldn't even. I just get in his kitchen the whole
Constantly.
time, just chirping him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know whether to crap or wind his watch.
Jamie would be this established baseball player, right? Steady numbers. He goes to the Mets, and all of a sudden his numbers tank. And people are like, why? Like, well, because he was trying to irritate Pete Alonso the entire year. He didn't do anything else. He had a bad year because he was so obsessed with getting under Pete Alonso's
I'd probably
skin.
have a great year. I'm not going to lie. Some of the years where I was the biggest donkey were some of my best years. Like my first year in Detroit was one of my best years. And I was literally signed to be like the locker room guy. Like, we don't know if you'll ever play, but we know you're a good veteran and you'll be good in the locker room and you work hard. And that's my job. I was like the entertainment director. I was like Julie McCoy, the cruise director on the Love Boat.
Jamie's hockey DB said glue guy next to his position.
Yeah.
Real sticky.
Jeremy Rutherford will join us in 15 minutes. Was the Cardinals' talent evaluation justified at the time of the deals that they did make? We'll talk about that next on 101 ESPN.
You're listening to The Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
Can we please stop talking about Mozeliak's track record? His track record is awful. He's made the playoffs, but it's not because of him. It's because of luck and just finding these diamonds in the rough that somehow perform well. He's traded away our top prospect talent for nothing. What, Alcantara, Garcia, Gallen? I mean, do we need to go on? Oh, sorry, Randy Arozarena. And for what? So he had Marcelo Ozuna, who basically was hitting in between Yelich and Stanton and had one good season because of it? Give me a break. This guy is a joke. He needs to go away.
All right, so Ryan, how do you think Ryan feels about Mo, I guess, was the only thing that I wanted to ask.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he doesn't like him. I could be wrong, Anthony. Maybe I heard it differently than you.
I'll listen back. See if I get a good gauge on it.
There you go.
101 ESPN has your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to next Tuesday night's Budweiser Bash for Cardinals versus Marlins. We're going to do it right now. Next week's Bud Bash game features a limited edition Brad Thompson bobblehead. And if you have the correct answer to our trivia question today, text in now at 314-399-9646 to win the Budweiser Bash tickets for Cardinals versus Marlins. You got to be the 101st texter. So this gives people that are listening via the app an opportunity with the delay to still have an opportunity to win. And you get all the details on this season's series of Budweiser Bash Cardinals games now at cardinals.com/promotions. So do we have the audio ready, Marsh? Let's play the audio first and we'll give you the trivia question.
We're going to see the major league debut of 23-year-old right-hander Brad Thompson, just called up. He's a baby-faced 23-year-old. I talked to him this morning. He's excited to be here, was relieving in Memphis, and his first pitch as a big league pitcher is inside to Damian Jackson. He got him. Ojeda doesn't like the call, and Brad Thompson gets his first big league strikeout.
Well, this is a pitch that Brad Thompson will remember for the rest of his life.
Did he hit the target?
Remember your first strikeout? No, not really.
Oh, Ricky Orton.
Ricky?
Come on.
He hit the target. It was a strikeout. Ish.
It was a strikeout. Darn right it was. So which team
Why
did...
are you being negative to our guy BT?
Well, if he missed the target, he missed the target.
What's your joy in that?
There's no joy in it. The joy is in the strikeout.
You got a strikeout, and you're like, meh, meh. How many Major League strikeouts do you have, Anthony?
As of right now?
As of right now.
0.
Exactly. Me too.
10 years from now? Who knows? Who really knows?
Cardinals are looking.
You don't want me. Cardinals, that was what, May 8th, 2005. So which team did BT pick up his first strikeout against? That's your trivia question. Again, text in 314-399-9646. Got to be the 101st texter with the correct answer. So let's circle back to what Ryan was saying there at the start of the segment about Mo's track record. At some point, you got to give Mo, as much as you dislike his track record or his whatever, his resume, you can't sit here and say that, well, he found these diamonds in the rough and they worked out. He got lucky. That's part of his job, is to find diamonds in the rough that turn out good.
Yeah.
It's I'll say this again, because I think we get a little nuts when it comes to grading whether or not a general manager has had success. What Dave Dombrowski has done in Philadelphia is not impressive to me.
Why do you go back to Dave all the time?
Because everybody seems to love Dave Dombrowski.
Do they?
Yes, because he's the anti-Mo.
Well, what about the Mets?
Fine, let's go to the Mets then. That's a layup too.
What about the Dodgers?
Dodgers are skill.
What about the Yankees?
A mixture of skill and big pocket spending. But the Dodgers have big pockets. But the way that Andrew Friedman built that organization, he actually started off by getting rid of all the crap contracts that the previous GM signed before. He goes, we got to start over here. We have lost our way. Just spending money doesn't equate to success. So what Friedman did was he got in, cleared out all the bad contracts, which is not unlike what Theo Epstein did in Chicago, and then reestablished his core via the draft. then started adding. But along the way, he found guys like Max Muncy and Justin Turner. When Muncy and Turner, other teams, Turner especially, didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
So he found those diamonds in the rough. The same guys that Ryan's talking about. Mo has done that. What Dave Dombrowski or Cohen has done is just spend money. You can look, you have a big market with some star talent, and you're acquiring that you have enough to say, hey, Trey Turner, do you want to play with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and all? Yes. Okay, cool. What contract do you want? This. Done. That's not impressive.
I'm not saying it is.
And the bottom's going to fall out for Philadelphia, just like it will for the Mets eventually, if not sooner. That's why I go to them.
But I just wondered if there was another reason that I didn't know about.
No. I hear Dave Dombrowski a lot. Mo's no Dave Dombrowski. Mo doesn't have the ownership group that is telling him you have blank checks to write.
Yeah.
So Mo's got to do it more in the way of what these other teams have done. And to date, it's a massive mixed bag. You can't say he's done a great job just based on the Cardinals' team success, because you have to factor in the fact that the NL Central sucks year after year. But you also can't
pin that on Mo.
You can't pin it on Mo.
Can't.
But you also can't on the other side just say that he's done nothing right.
No.
To your point yesterday about Nolan Arenado, he did make the move for Arenado. He did make the move for Goldie and then signed him to a long-term deal. He did oversee a drafting and development team that now has fetched you Donovan, Walker, Gorman, Newt, Dylan Carlson. I realize not all these guys or any of these guys are superstars, but they are playing for your big league roster right now.
And I think that's important to isolate for a second, Anthony, is that teams go through, how many rounds are there in Major League Baseball?
487.
There's a lot, right?
They're still going now.
I know, it's crazy. I still see, I'm like, that's like a week ago they started this thing.
Oh, yeah.
But
it's a year-long thing.
So for a team to end up with major leaguers, that many from their draft, whether they're impact players or just everyday players, whatever it is, that's good. There's so many guys that you draft that don't ever play 1 minute in the majors. Mm-hmm. And so you have to look at that as a small success, that you're drafting at least the right players that can play Major League Baseball, and a couple that have some tremendous upside that they could be difference makers.
Yes. Yeah, you're filling a roster. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have, with the Braves,
you're not going to have a Jordan Walker every single time,
right?
Or Nolan Gorman you have to sprinkle in the Brendan Donovan, sprinkle in a Newt Bar here and there.
If you're talking about the most impressive organizations as of right now in terms of evaluation, the draft, and all that, you're talking about the Braves, clearly. And you could say, well, they signed these guys. They didn't sign everybody. They drafted these guys, they developed these guys, and then supplemented their roster with free agents or trade acquisitions like a Matt Olson, like a Sean Murphy. It didn't just start in free agency and they just kept building the way the Phillies are, which I don't think is the best model. The Braves are impressive. The Dodgers are impressive.
The Padres throw money at it, too.
Yes, the Padres are, we'll trade you every top prospect, we'll clean out our farm system to get proven talent. It hasn't worked to date.
And then we'll overpay them.
And then we'll overpay them, is right. Let's see, the Braves, the Dodgers, the Astros are impressive. The Astros have guys that they built their core first, then they started to add in the Justin Verlanders and such, Garrett Cole. You get the point. Mo isn't anywhere close to these teams. Let's also not make it out to be that he's got the Cardinals in the same boat as the Royals and the Tigers and the Rockies and some of these teams that clearly don't know what they're doing. Mo and the Cardinals are painfully average. If you look at the top and the bottom of the league, from a roster construction standpoint, from a talent evaluation standpoint, I wouldn't even say drafting because I think Randy Flores has done a great job, but overall they are painfully average. And until they're not painfully average and they start to creep up to the teams that we just talked about, you're going to get the same mediocre results, in my opinion. Here's Mo real quick. We got to get to JR. Here's Mo real quick on talent evaluation.
Well, I think, at the time, where we thought our outfield was going to look like has not achieved Garcia has or even Rosarena. And, you try to pick the right players. At the time, I think O'Neill and Bader were both more valued than them at the time of those deals. And, now things have changed. And, you're trying to get it right. You really are. But, clearly those look like mistakes.
Those were mistakes. They clearly were. They made a decision.
But
they made a decision,
in the moment,
and it
Anthony,
didn't work out.
In the moment, Mo's not wrong. He said at that time, Tyler O'Neill and Harrison Bader were ranked higher, whatever the word is he used. They were viewed as better players at that moment.
Sure.
And then he says, clearly that was a mistake. So, I mean, we can dog on Mo all we want, and trust me, I'll get in line to do it too. But you got to also have a little bit of honesty in your evaluation of John Mozeliak.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time of those trades, those guys were projected to be better players, or they were on a quicker path to being better players. Didn't work out that way. He says, yeah, clearly those were mistakes.
Yeah, these are decisions. They're
He made a decision. And at least he said that clearly that looks like a mistake now.
Right. And those two were, as were Dexter Fowler. Because Dexter Fowler, to me, is in the same conversation. You signed Dexter Fowler for what you did and give him 5 years. Well, now you're committed. You're pot committed to Dexter Fowler. You blanked up. So that was a mistake as well. To me, Jamie, the Fowler decision was a bigger mistake than even O'Neill and Bader, really.
Well, I think it was for sure, because what happens is you blocked some of your young guys, and then you had to move on from some of your young guys because you're already paying a guy.
Correct.
I get it. I agree.
For a guy the Cubs played at the wall knowing he couldn't move forward. What are we doing? So Fowler, again, was a bigger mistake to me than those other two. All right. We're late to get to JR. He understands.
Oh, he's going to be pissed at you.
Is he?
Yeah, he's already texting me.
I'll tell him to blank off next on 101 ESPN.
their division years ago. The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. It's time for the Rutherford Report on 101 ESPN.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey, here we go.
Blues making a move earlier today, and joining us to talk about it is our Blues insider with The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, who apparently has a bone to pick with me. What's up, JR?
I don't. It's just I was sitting here patiently. I thought to myself, okay, they're a couple minutes late. No big deal. These are my boys. And then all of a sudden I hear, he can F off.
Yeah, that was aggressive.
Somebody did it. Somebody finally cut.
No,
Jamie.
I'm back.
Oh, he's back.
I didn't get electrocuted that time. The mic in the studio has been playing games around here, JR.
It sounds like
they're trying to sabotage me. I've been electrocuted like 3 times now.
Yeah, he's still standing though.
Yeah,
so
I kind of like it.
JR, a big move here, big depth move, signing Oskar Sundqvist to a 1-year deal. Jamie had brought it up a couple of weeks ago how he thought that would be a great move. Can you talk about it from the Blues' perspective? Why bring back Sonny?
Yeah, I thought that this could happen going into July 1st. I talked to Oskar a couple times. He was hopeful that it could happen, but it didn't on July 1st. And then you see that they signed Mackenzie McEachern, and you think, okay, maybe that's the spot that money is going to go to. And I know Oskar was disappointed, but he definitely wanted to be here, and they finally get it done today. I think they needed it. Look, The Athletic the other day asked all the beat writers a question and said, what does your team still need? What's the hole? And it took me a few minutes. I mean, you can talk about defense, you can talk about a lot of different areas of the team, but what's going to change? Unless you're able to make a trade on defense, that's not necessarily something you can fix before the season starts. So my thing, what I said at The Athletic was fourth line depth. I felt like they were a body too short. And so they bring in McEachern, who had a good finish with Carolina last year, and now they bring in Sonny. That's a couple extra bodies. And what's the theme here, guys? Doug Armstrong always loves the players that he knows in the past. Same with Craig Berube. They bring in 2 of them with McEachern and Sundqvist.
JR, I went through the lineup earlier here, just kind of a mock roster. And, of course, things can happen. Things can change. But when I look at this team right now and I realize it's simply on paper, it feels like Army has done a great job of making this a playoff contender for next year.
I think that if the defense can play better, if the forwards can do a better job defensively, like Craig Berube's been telling you guys and others, that's not just the defensemen, it's the forwards as well. If that team defense is there this year, you can take this roster and make the playoffs. Now, can you be first or second in the Central? Can you go 3 rounds? I think you'd have to be playing above your head to be able to do that. But I think on paper, with the depth, I'm trying to do lines here, and guys are getting pushed out as they sign additional players. There's some depth here, both up front and defensively. When you talk about defensively, Akale Rosen being 9th on the depth chart. So, yeah, I think there's a roster here. I think you're right. I think it's a team that can get into the playoffs, whether they can make any noise or not. I just don't think they're there.
You can obviously agree with me or not, but I feel like the roster, especially now, has a bunch of guys that have something to prove. And when you look at almost each individual on this roster, whether it's them coming from another team or played on this team last year and didn't have the year they wanted, I feel like there's a lot of guys that have something to prove.
100%. I think if you had to come up with a theme for the team right now going into the season, that's what it is, Riv. It's something to prove. And I talked to Kevin Hayes about that a couple weeks ago in Nashville when he showed up there. I said, between yourself and Vrana and Kapanen, those guys come to St. Louis and they're on the last year of their deals. You look at Thomas and Kyrou, they definitely have something to prove with their contracts jumping up to 8.125. You look at some of these guys. Look at Nathan Walker. He's got a spot. He did something last year. And now with the addition of Sundqvist and McEachern, does he even have a spot in the lineup? Jake Neighbors looks like a good young prospect. And if you do the math, does he have a spot here? So, and then you go back to the defense, nothing to be said there. Those guys definitely have something to prove. And I think Jordan Binnington, too, some criticism, even as well as he played, carried the team at times last year, something to prove. I think Army, from that perspective, has put this team in a really good spot that these guys at least have something to play for as a team, but also individually.
Jeremy Rutherford is our Blues insider with The Athletic. He joins us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. JR, we know that the defense is going to be the thing that we all focus in on heading into next year. Is there anything that Army can do at this point in the offseason? Anything that you anticipate he can do to improve that area of the roster?
Yeah, something like that. It's tough to forecast because you can know that Army would like to do something,
right?
But there's just so many variables with with the guys having no trade clauses like a Torrey Krug. That trade would be done and these players would be moving on had Torrey Krug approved it. And that's not to criticize him. He certainly earned that right, has that right. It's just that's the way the game works, is that deal was not able to go through. So does Doug Armstrong have some other option, some other situation, some other team that would take a Torrey Krug, that would take a Nick Leddy? I don't know that there's one out there, but there could be tomorrow. Who knows? I think at this point, Doug Armstrong is going to continue to explore that, and maybe the phone does ring. But I think he's also probably content believing, like he said a couple times this offseason, he thinks those guys can be better. And with what he's done up front, again, if these guys can be better next season defensively, then this is what this retool is going to look like for a couple years until those contracts shave a couple years and maybe a Krug, a Leddy, somebody's got a year or 2, 3 left on their deal as opposed to 4 or 5. Maybe then he could move them. So they're just going to have to kind of, live and move forward with the bed that they made contract-wise and see where it takes them.
JR, when you look at the D-core, we talked about earlier, and you just talked about too, there's kind of 9 guys deep right now. Where do you see Scott Perunovich in this roster? Because with Leddy and Krug on the left side, undersized, smaller guys, not very physical, and then you had Perunovich in there, I'm just wondering what his path is to being a regular.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the biggest storyline in camp is what's going to happen with these defensemen. You would have to assume if all top four guys are in camp, they haven't been traded, everybody's there and accounted for, that it's probably going to be Parayko, Leddy, and it's going to be Krug and Falk. And then you look at the rest of the list, and it's Tyler Tucker. This is a retool. They really love Tyler Tucker. They want to get him in the lineup. I think he's going to be out there. Is there room for a Perunovich to get out there, and if he plays well, he stays in the lineup, and maybe he jumps a Tucker, or he plays on the right side too, Riv? Can he play on the right side with Tyler Tucker? It's 2 young guys, inexperienced, but then you're looking at no Bortuzzo, and he's kind of a cog in that PK. And we didn't even get to Kylie Rosen. So, there's some guys on this team that I think defensively are going to have to either have a heck of a camp, or one of those top 4 guys is just not going to be cutting it, and they're going to move them down to the third pair or possibly out of the lineup. So you're looking at 8 one-way contracts. Keep this in mind. Doug Armstrong did say a couple weeks ago in Nashville to reporters he could see the team starting with 13 forwards and 8 defensemen. That's what we're looking at right now.
JR, great stuff as always. Sorry we were late, buddy.
Oh, get out of here anytime. I'm just glad you're keeping me in the off season here, so I appreciate you guys.
No, you do great work, JR, so we appreciate you. Check
Did you
out.
Just say we?
Yeah.
You're driving this thing, Anthony. That's on you.
Okay, I appreciate you. Certainly much more than Jamie does. So
all right. Well, hey, keep getting nasty on a Wednesday here.
All right.
Attaboy, JR.
See you, buddy.
All right.
That's Jeremy Rutherford at JP Rutherford on Twitter. You're already following JR, I'm sure, but likes to give a shout out to his his Twitter page.
Absolutely.
It deserves love too, Jamie.
Yeah, he has a new little article out right now talking about a bunch of players, past players, talking about Doug Armstrong. So go check that out. It's pretty good. It's got Backus, Steen, a couple other guys.
Nice. That's Jeremy.
No, I'm Jamie Rivers.
Yeah,
that was Jeremy
You're still
Rutherford.
JR, though.
And you're Anthony Stalter.
And we're the Fast Lane. NFL 4 Downs next on 101 ESPN.
Boys, take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets. What that means, Anthony, is you can bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend on everything from money line, over, under, maybe a home run. Heck, so many options, Anthony.
Jack Flaherty's recent start, I was looking at some of the prop plays. It had first pitch, and this was against Miami, against Luis Ariz, and it was the velo. You could bet over under on the velo. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many odds
Did
they
you
have.
have Ariz for a hit?
I Well, anyways, at FanDuel, you can bet on everything for Major League Baseball. First hit, home runs, yes, exit velo. Brad, the app, it's safe, secure, easy to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly.
Yeah, look, you can even fade your favorite team. Do whatever makes you money. Over at FanDuel, it's FanDuel.com/fast. That's FanDuel.com/fast. That's where you sign up. That's where you get your $200 in bonus bets over at FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and over, present in Illinois. First online real money wager, $10 deposit required. Refund issues not withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem code 1-800-GAMBLER.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The National League picks up the victory over the American League last night in Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. City SC taking on LAFC tonight, 9:30 kickoff. And the big news of the day, Oskar Sundqvist has returned to St. Louis as he will be with the Blues this upcoming year. We talked earlier today with Jeremy Rutherford. If you just missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com and use the 101 mobile app. You can find all of our interviews and our full show. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We'll talk later with Eddie Olczyk, and Oskar Sundqvist will join us at 5:30. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're in the fast lane. Coming to you live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
Time for the NFL 4 Downs in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh.
First down.
All right, gentlemen. First down. Can Sean Payton salvage the back half of Russell Wilson's career?
I think he can. It's just a matter of if Russell Wilson's going to buy in. Because let's not forget why Russell Wilson is a Denver Bronco. He's a Denver Bronco because he thought he could do more than what Seattle allowed him to do in the offense. And actually, Seattle did a nice job in the 1 year that they let Russ cook for half the season. He was an MVP candidate, which apparently is all he wants. He wants to put up MVP numbers and be this big-time passing. You know, he's never won an MVP, so he wants to put up these big-time passing numbers and all that. Well, Seattle, midway through the year, said, okay, we've got to scale back. You're turning the damn ball over too much. He was fumbling a lot. He was throwing a lot of picks. It was an ugly game in Buffalo that year, and Pete Carroll put the brakes on and said, we're going to go back to doing what we do best and allow you to do your thing, which is we're going to run the ball, play action, and go that route. Russ didn't like it. Russ went pout mode.
Whoa.
And then eventually wound up in Denver. And Denver said, here, Russ, take the franchise. You're our guy. We'll run your offense. And you saw how good that was last year.
Yeah,
so if Russell Wilson understands what Sean Payton did for his mentor, which is Drew Brees, or the guy he looked up to, then just fall in line, do what Sean Payton is asking you to do in the offense, and you're going to the Denver Broncos will be good. You may not put up big-time numbers, but do you want to win games or not?
Yeah. So I feel like Russell Wilson walked into a situation last year where it was the worst possible situation. And let me explain. You had I believe, first-time head coach.
Oh, yeah. Nathaniel Hackett.
And Russell Wilson, an established Super Bowl champion quarterback that is now supposed to be the guy. Mm-hmm. It's just a bad recipe right there because Russell Wilson, not that he's disrespectful, but he's probably got his own thoughts and feelings about how he wants to run the offense, and he's looking at this other guy going, what the hell have you done? Type thing. Mm-hmm. Not that he did that, but, you know, it just set up for a bit of failure there. And then Russell played terrible. Did not play good. Whether it was the offense or Russell Wilson, it just didn't work.
Yeah,
so fast forward now to Sean Payton. Sean Payton walks in there with some clout.
Yep.
And he can grab Russell Wilson and say, now, this is the way we're doing it. I don't care what you think. I'm also a Super Bowl champion, and we're going to play it this way. I think he can salvage Russell Wilson's career.
Netflix did a movie about me, Russ.
That's right.
Not Mr. Unlimited.
Not yet. It's in the works, I hear.
They did a movie about you?
About Sean Payton.
Anthony,
I was being Sean Payton.
I remember you watched that movie.
Yeah, the kids.
You made Killian watch it.
No, I came home and they had already watched it. And they thought, Daddy loves football. He'll love this movie.
I talked to your children, and they said that Daddy made them sit on the couch and watch Daddy's movie because he said, he told us, you guys are going to love it. And if you don't, you have to go to bed.
I have used or just go to bed, but I don't think it was for that movie.
Killian was like, I don't want to go to bed, so I'll muscle through this stupid movie.
Well, he sleeps on tubs and on the ground and
I can't
everywhere
wait for
anyways.
that kid to be in college.
Oh, man. So what Marsh is...
I'm going to be on his Insta page.
Yeah, what Marsh is referring to.
Who knows what social media will be around then?
How far? Was that like 6 months ago, maybe?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I walked into Killian's room because, you know, we do Chris and I do the rounds at night. We shut everything down, go check on the kids, and I went into Killian. He's 5. I went to Killian's room. Killian wasn't in his bed. And I'm like doing he's got one little nightlight on. And I'm like searching around the bed. Did he fall off the bed? Because he's been known to do that too.
Fall off and roll under.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm checking everywhere, and then I look over, and there was these large Tupperware containers that you would have like in your garage or your basement, full of some
storage bins.
Yeah, storage bins. Thank you, storage bins.
You're welcome.
He was sleeping on top of the storage bin. Why? I have no idea.
So comfortable.
So I snapped a picture and I sent it to Jamie and Marsh, and Jamie just responds. He goes, "That's my spirit animal right there." I asked him the next morning, I go, "Buddy, why were you sleeping on the storage bins?" He goes, "I don't know. It's comfortable." Like, more comfortable than your bed?
Maybe you should get him a new bed.
The bed's fine.
Get him a Tempur-Pedic.
I guess so, man.
Or just get him a big Rubbermaid tub.
Yeah, there you go, right. Save us some money. 2 nights later, he was doing the same thing. I go, this kid's something else. All right, go ahead.
Second down.
All right, guys, it would appear that DeAndre Hopkins is drawing serious interest from just 2 teams, the Titans and the Patriots. Out of those 2 options, which team would you like to see DeAndre Hopkins play for next season?
I'll go first on this one, Anthony. It's a no-brainer. The Patriots. I would love to see DeAndre Hopkins play for the Patriots, and I think it would be a really good matchup for Mac Jones, to where he's got Mr. Reliable when he needs a pattern, when he needs the 5 yards, when he needs that dependable receiver to get the ball to. He just has to throw it in his direction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can DeAndre Hopkins play in an offense that's going to be, I don't want to say be insulting, but kind of simplified or dumbed down, because they have to try and rebuild this whole offensive package after that disaster that was last year? Can he play in that? I think he can. Is he going to get a lot of touches? He probably will. He'd probably get the most touches playing in New England, based on the fact that they're going to need him to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think the best fit is the Patriots.
I'm with you there. I think he has an opportunity to make the biggest impact, because Bill O'Brien is now, and it's ironic because Bill O'Brien is the guy that traded DeAndre Hopkins.
But he really,
Houston.
He had successful seasons under
he absolutely did.
You know me.
Yeah, when Bill O'Brien just calls the offenses, he's been fine. It's the Bill O'Brien GM that made the mistakes. But when you look at the Patriots depth chart at wide receiver, they got Devontae Parker, they signed Juju Smith-Schuster, and then it's Kendrick Bourne and Kendrick Bourne types. You know, Tyquan Thornton is basically a gadget guy, maybe a vertical threat, and that's about it. I think DeAndre Hopkins would have the biggest impact for the Patriots, and I want to see that division, which should be competitive as it is. The Patriots are the team that's projected to be in 4th place. Mm-hmm. That would still be a really intriguing 4th place team to watch. As bad as the Patriots were a year ago, they won 7 or 8 games. We think of the Patriots as this natural disaster a year ago. Mm-hmm. They won. I think they won 7 games a year ago. So they're not that far off from giving the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets some issues. So I too would rather see DeAndre Hopkins playing in New England than Tennessee.
3rd down.
Guys, there's reports that the Dolphins offered Dalvin Cook a contract. He has yet to sign with anyone, and now the Jets are reportedly interested in Cook, with Breece Hall still recovering from ACL surgery. Which team would Dalvin Cook make more dangerous, the Jets or the Dolphins?
I think that Dalvin Cook would be an outstanding ad for either team. I really want to see him play in Miami, though. One, I like Breece Hall. He probably would have won Rookie of the Year last year had he not gotten hurt. That went to his teammate, Garrett Wilson. But Miami to add a Dalvin Cook, not only from a running game standpoint, but also in the passing game where he's highly effective, and give yet another weapon to Mike McDaniel. I'm thinking as a defensive coordinator, I'm already sweating bullets trying to figure out how to slow down Tyreek Hill. Then you got Jalen Waddle on the other side. The tight end spot, they're moving in a different direction. They had Gesicki, but they barely used him. Now I got to worry about Dalvin Cook beating me on 3rd downs too from out of the backfield. I think that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that Miami establishing a running game also opens up the pass game for them too. They can start drawing into some play action. You get the defense to bite a little bit. You get a defensive guy that just nibbles by accident. Tyreek Hill's already 3 yards behind him.
You're right.
So I think that Dalvin Cook opens up a lot of options for the Dolphins.
4th down.
Last one here. Even though the value of the running backs have never been lower, are we seeing the league shift more to the running game?
Anthony, I'm going to cue you up for this, because Anthony is well known to just be like, just give me a running back. I don't care. But in fairness, Anthony's been right about that. And the league used to be run heavy, the 90s, right? Remember the 90s? You had to have an Emmitt Smith. You had to have,
Barry Foster.
Barry Sanders. He'll do too.
Barry Sanders is awesome. Christian Okoye, the Nigerian night train.
Yes. You had to have a guy. And then the league went away from that, but now the league is going back to run heavy. Like you look at some of the teams that are successful because the defenses have gotten smaller, to your point.
Absolutely.
So the run game becomes a factor. So Anthony, I'll let you handle this.
Well
question.
done. No, you're absolutely right, Jamie. So we've got this shift. You see it in all sports, right? Hockey, there's a shift, and now it's kind of coming back around to some of the elements that Jamie, that you used to play. Different rules, of course, but...
Yeah, those were prison rules back then, Anthony.
Anything goes. But in the NFL, there's this shift. It went from, okay, now everybody's putting the ball in the air because all the defenders, big, heavy, middle linebackers, to do what? Stop the run. Everybody went to the pass. Now you've got undersized front sevens. And teams like the Giants made the playoffs last year because they just pounded the ball against undersized defenses all year, wound up winning 9 games. The Falcons have had a horrible roster last year. Terrible. They won 7 games because all they did was run the ball. There are teams, the Jets, until getting Aaron Rodgers, I'd be interested to see what they do. The Jets won 7 games because they pounded the rock. You are seeing more teams adopt running games because they know they don't have great defenses. They know offensive linemen would rather do what? Go forward than pass protect, and undersized defensive front sevens will start to wear down in the fourth quarter. That I'll just phrase it this way because people understand what I'm talking about. It's kind of Jeff Fisher football. We'll run the ball, keep the team in the game. I know. It's just
It's funny. You said 7 wins for the Falcons.
Exactly.
That's about right.
Yeah,
500 mark. Not anymore.
I got no quarterback. I got no defense. What are we going to do? We're going to run the ball.
Did those teams run because they wanted to run, or did they run because their quarterback sucked?
They ran because their quarterback sucked and they had no defense.
So now the Jets, for instance, if they continue, but if they continue that will open up the passing game with a little bit more play action. Rodgers can roll out. We know what he can do when he throws
Theoretically, yes, absolutely. But I'll give you Denver. I think Denver's going to run the ball heavily this year, despite having...
Even though
whatever version of Russell Wilson, yes, I think they're going to run the ball.
Even with the injury last year to Javonte Williams?
Yes, Green Bay is going to run the ball heavily. They're going to open up play action for Jordan Love. Denver, Green Bay, Atlanta's still going to run the ball 487 times a game. Carolina is going to run the ball heavily. Any other team that just doesn't have a defense? I'm trying to think of one more. Steelers, I think, would be a team that if they get better offensive line play, we're on the ball heavily. I think you're going to see half the league devote big-time rushing attempts this year. We'll see. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got the Gauntlet coming up in less than 15 minutes. Steve is back. He'll take on either Jamie or Marsh after beating me yesterday in the Gauntlet. But is it fair to criticize the front office for a lack of aggressiveness? Yeah. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Gentlemen, are you suffering from decreased mental acuity? Maybe your attention span is not there, stressed out, you got a little extra belly fat, low libido. All of those things right there can be signs of low testosterone. And it honestly doesn't matter what age you are. It happens to guys of all ages, which is why I went into Mentality to see where I was at. And they've got 2 great locations, one in South County, one in West County. Spend most of my time at the West County location. Staff is fantastic, but I sat down with a board-certified physician, and what happens is they did a complete physical exam. First, we talked about what I was experiencing and what are some of the things that I can do to improve that. Then we did a blood panel, and the blood panel showed that I was low in testosterone as well as some other vitamins. So they put me on a customized program specific to me. And now I get in there once a week, and I feel fantastic. Everything has changed. My attitude at work, the amount of things I can accomplish in a day, just how I feel, how I look, all these things have gotten much better, and all that is thanks to Mentality. And gentlemen, it's covered by most insurance companies as well, so there's really no excuse not to get in there and say hi. When you do, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. But if you can't get there in person, get there online. Check out Mentality at lowtusa.com. That's Mentality at lowtusa.com.
just at the top of their game, they're on top of your game. Their game, every game. This is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Mo's interview was fine with me, and I'm very critical of him. And the reason is we've been playing in a AAA division for the last 7 or 8 years. A couple good years by the Cubs. You've got the Brewers. But when you play the rest of these teams 18 times a year, you're going to win the division a majority of the time. But what do you do when you go into the playoffs? How about 1 win, 9 losses in the last 10? Last 22 games in the playoffs, 5 wins, 17 losses. It's like they barely built this team just to get by to win the division, but that's it.
That was Todd. Todd is absolutely 100% correct. He's absolutely right. What's the biggest difference between this year and last year when the Cardinals won 90-plus games? Because the roster is fairly similar. The biggest difference is the division has gotten better, and the Cardinals are not playing an NL Central division that one is bad more times. It is a balanced schedule. They're going to have to change their ways. Todd is right. The competition, I mean, let's really think about this. Every year there's one team that the Cardinals have to contend with. That's it. And it all goes in cycles. Lately, it's been the Brewers. Over the last 4 years, it's been the Brewers. Before that, it was the Cubs. Before that, it was the Reds for like 2 years. It's never been the Pirates outside of the 1 year the Pirates had the wild card. We'll call it the Michael Walker year. Mm-hmm. The Pirates were good for 2 years or a year and a half. That was it. But it's always just one team. That's it. This isn't the AL East. This isn't what the NL West has been this year. This isn't the NL East from a year ago. This is a division that has been incredibly winnable, and the Cardinals have been the team that has won. But they're going to have to change. So last night, Martin Kilcoyne and Fox 2 aired an exclusive with John Mozeliak. One of the questions that Martin Kilcoyne asked was this one. You'll hear the question about the Cardinals' aggressiveness or lack thereof.
Has the bar lowered from we're going to win a title to we're going to win a division?
No, I think people equate bold with spending, and I don't know if that's the fairest way to look at it, but there's many.
Or maybe aggressive. Maybe. Is that
again? It's however you want to phrase it. There are many teams out there that outspend us or out aggressive us, and they're finding themselves in similar situations. So,
is there still that urgency to win each year?
I mean, I think I hear that more that maybe we are more complacent or maybe are arrogant in the fact that we've had the success we've had. But I assure you, even when we look at what we put together on paper, it should have worked better, but it didn't.
What do you think, Jeremy? What do you think of the comments there?
Well, there's a frustration in John Mozeliak's voice for what he's hearing regarding, complacent and whatnot. Here's where I guess what I wanted to ask you coming into this segment. How much would you change of this current lineup? And the reason I ask that is because when you look at the lineup overall, it's a competitive lineup in almost every division in baseball. The pitching staff has been a roller coaster ride. And I understand that, I would add this guy and this guy and this guy. Realistically, talking about the Cardinals, where would you have the changes? And what would they be? And you can't tell me it's Aaron Judge. You can't tell me it's Mike Trout because, come on. Mm-hmm. I feel like the Cardinals have done a fairly good job of putting together positional players only right now, a solid team.
I got no problem with the offense.
Yeah.
Outside of, if we're going to nitpick a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to nitpick. How about this? I won't nitpick. After the trade deadline, I would make 2 changes. One, I'm trying to trade Paul DeJong because his value is high again. And then I'm going to bring up Mason Wynn if I can. Mason Wynn would be my starting shortstop for the foreseeable future. and I'll bat him ninth, and I don't care if he hits 200. Play elite defense, and then hopefully your offense will start to develop. The only other decision I would make with the position player groups is the one I mentioned before. Andrew Kisner. No offense to Kisner would not be my backup. Ivan Herrera would be splitting time.
But
outside of that, that's it.
But I think those are two great decisions.
That's it.
I support both of those decisions 100%. I do. Like if John Mozeliak at the deadline,
high five.
Very good high five. That's some zip
nice.
to it there too.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah,
You almost
good
got the
sound.
shrimp cocktail.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Got the old Isaac Bruce there.
The old finger that doesn't work very good.
Torrey, both of them.
Yeah.
Is it Torrey? They both got
Torrey
it.
hole.
Yeah, basically any receiver that
he's got the sideways fingers.
Any receiver that played 10 years or so have their fingers are like this. Yeah.
But yeah, talking about the Cardinals, that's fine. So when we talk about the front office not being aggressive or not wanting to win or whatever the words are you want to use, where are you improving it? Like realistically, without completely spiking up your payroll by another 20 or 30 million.
Mm-hmm. Position players, I'm not.
Correct. So we go back to the pitching staff. Mm-hmm. Now that's where I totally think the Cardinals, the front office, the ownership should have been more aggressive in the last 2 to 3 off seasons. And this year they're going to have to get really aggressive. And they're going to have to get uncomfortable, and they're going to have to pay a number 4 like a number 2. They're going to have to pay a number 3 like a number 1. Like they're going to have to pony up some cash because internally, John Mozeliak, if you're listening, internally, now you do not have the answers.
Right.
So you're going to have to pay. This is where it's going to sting. And this is where I don't know what the threshold as far as finances go or allotted budget is concerned. I don't know what the threshold is for this team.
I got more on the pitching staff from my notebook here.
Yeah, I want to get into that notebook.
Yeah, it's good. I
Looks
think
like
I got this from our closet there.
Now, did you do all this work at home or was it here?
No, here.
Okay, because if you would have said at home, I'd say there's definitely a half a bottle of Makers that went into that study.
If I did.
I can see the ring that's around the paper where the glass was.
This part that I've all scribbled out and all nonsense, that was Makers.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't
Maybe
see a
some
couple
Elijah
of rogue
Craig.
tweet responses last night.
No.
I like
That's
my
only when
Makers
somebody
Mark tweets from brought to you by Anthony Stalter.
It's only when somebody chirps me. Read the right exactly the perfect time. All right, the Gauntlet next, but I got some pitching stuff that we'll get into after the Gauntlet. But Steve is back for round 2 here on 101 ESPN.
Get in touch with my great friend Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency and have her go over your entire insurance portfolio. Now's the time to do it. There's a lot of things that have changed in the insurance world, and if you haven't gotten a full evaluation or a review of your insurance policies, now's the time. Get over there and call Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency. They're going to try and find, well, they're not going to try. They're going to find you the best possible coverage, and they're going to work at getting you the best possible rates. I know this because she just did a full review on all of my insurance policies, and I actually ended up saving a few bucks. So please don't hesitate. Get a hold of Tracy for a non-committal quote. And that number is 314-328-4260. Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency they're fantastic. They're not a 1-800 number. You don't get somebody different every single time you call over there. You get Tracy or one of her people at the Bibb Agency, and they get to know you, and they treat you like family, and they certainly take great care of you because they take great care of me. So again, give her a call at 314-328-4260. It's no fib. You're in good hands with Tracy Bibb.
what you want to hear. Sports. This is the Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN. 3 warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
All right, Steve beat me yesterday in the Gauntlet. We had a walk-off, and Steve got me. It was very close, but nonetheless, got through me. Now he's back to take on either Jamie or Marsh today. What's up, Steve?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just kind of reeling from that win yesterday. That was really close.
You're still thinking about that, though, Steve. Are you prepared to take on Jamie or Marsh today?
Not really. You're in my head, really, honestly. So.
Well, you already got through me, so you're
Sorry
good to
about
go.
that.
All right, Steve, who do you want? Do you want Jamie or Marsh?
You better, when you guys pack the lunch, can you make sure you throw a Sunny D in there? Because I'll take on that Marshy.
Wow. He threw the Sunny D at you on Oskar Sundqvist Day, too.
That's a really good
point. Man. All right. Marsh, actually, Steve, you tell Marsh to spin the wheel, and then we'll get this thing going.
I need a launch codes, too.
I got him.
Oh, you good? All right, never mind.
I'll let you. Actually, you know what? They're safer
you shouldn't
with you.
touch anything anymore.
Nope.
Edward Scissorhands.
All right, go ahead,
Hey,
Steve.
Marshy, spin that wheel and don't hit baseball for me, please.
All right, so Steve is asking for no baseball this time around. What are you hoping for, Steve?
Well, hockey's my sport, so but I know Marshy's pretty good at hockey too. So
he is.
Well, this is going to be a showdown, a throwdown. Heck no, I can't slow down. It's hockey.
Oh, Jamie with the rhymes there. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right, Todd, you wanted hockey. You're going to get hockey against Marsh today. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. 4 questions, all hockey. They go to Steve, and then, did I call you Todd?
No.
Did I call you Steve? Okay. I wrote down Todd here because that was the last mic drop. And
It's the head injuries.
Man, I guess so. 4 questions to Steve, same 4 questions to Marsh. Each question is worth 2 points unless they need the options. And then, Jamie, those questions are worth
1 point.
That's correct. All right, Steve, you ready?
As ready as I can be.
All right. Dalibor Dvorsky has primarily played in Sweden, but is from which country?
Oh, man, because everyone kept calling him, saying that he was from Sweden. Gosh, where is he from? I think Marshy's going to know this. I'll take the options.
All right. Is it, what is it, Latvia?
Yeah, that's how they say that.
Latvia, Slovenia.
Nope,
Slovenia. Or Slovakia.
2 for 3, Anthony. Well
Sorry.
done.
My bad.
What were the options again?
Latvia, Slovenia, or Slovakia. Slovakia. Jamie's in my head now.
Slovenia, I guess let's go with Slovakia.
Slovakia. There you go. Final answer?
Yeah.
All right, question number 2. Kasperi Kapanen was drafted 22nd overall in the 2014 NHL draft by which team?
Kapanen was he the Wild? Oh no! I'm thinking of the wrong guy. That was Pittsburgh. I think it's Pittsburgh. I think.
Final answer?
Last time I thought it was 1922 and took the options and was glad I did it. Yeah, let's go with options.
All right. Was it the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, or the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Yeah, let's stick with Pittsburgh.
Final answer?
Yeah, final answer.
All right, question 3, Steve. Throughout his career, Marco Scandella has played 7 seasons with the Minnesota Wild, 4 seasons with the St. Louis Blues, 1 season with the Montreal Canadiens, and 3 seasons with which other team?
Buffalo Sabres.
Final?
Yeah.
Last question. Who did the Blues play in the final game of last season, losing 1-0 on the road?
Oh, jeez. Gosh, what a weird question.
Totally difficult question.
Let's go with those options.
All right. Was it the Vegas Golden Knights, the Minnesota Wild, or the Dallas Stars?
Vegas, Minnesota, or Dallas? Did you say whether it was home or a road?
It was a road game. It was a road.
I don't remember. I don't think it would be Vegas. So let's go with Minnesota.
Final answer?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Let's get DJ Marsh in here.
All right, Steve, how you feeling?
That last one was really tough. Don't feel too great. I think I may have gotten 2 or 3 right.
All right. Marsh is making his way back in from the cone of silence right now. He's taking his drink of water.
He's got to make sure he drinks the water, but he's got the little squirt so he doesn't get in that thick mustache of his.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at you rocking the stash.
Look at that.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Marsh, you ready?
Miles Michaelis, stunt double.
Yeah.
Jamie, tell him.
Go.
Oh, you better pack a lunch, Marshy.
Okay.
And like a big one, like you usually bring like the full grocery bag.
Yeah.
With the
Anthony
loaf of
started doing
bread.
that now.
I did. It's a genius move.
You guys got your own Subway bar.
Yeah.
In the office.
Hey, you just keep it right there. You just don't have to worry about packing it up.
Oh, guys, it's a great idea.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right.
I'm feeling
This
the
guy,
stank on
you know
it.
what?
I said it's a great idea.
He's got a bunch of power bars by his desk. We don't hear any complaining.
No, hey, we
guys, how did you see? It's like you heard negativity. It's like you guys literally were like when I read text messages. I read text messages. All of them are negative and all of them are angry at me. And you guys just did that.
It is true. Jamie's like, have a good day. Have a good day. Can you believe this guy?
What the hell does that mean?
Tell me have a good day.
I don't like your attitude.
I don't like your attitude.
All right, Marsh, your category today is hockey.
Okay.
Question number 1. Dalibor Dvorsky has primarily played in Sweden, but is from which country?
Slovakia, final answer.
Good thing you didn't have to have Anthony.
Yeah,
options.
butchered some options.
My goodness.
What were some? We'll go over them later.
No. We'll have Anthony go over those later with you. Question number 2. Kasperi Kapanen was drafted 22nd overall in the 2014 NHL draft. By which team?
The Toronto Maple Leafs, final answer.
Question number 3. And hang with me here, Marsh.
I'll try.
Throughout his career, Marco Scandella has played 7 seasons with the Minnesota Wild, 4 seasons with your St. Louis Blues, 1 season with the Montreal Canadiens, and 3 seasons with which other team?
All right, so we have the Wild, the Canadiens. I believe that's a team that we got him from. The Blues, and one other team. Marco Scandella. Trying to picture him in another uniform. The Arizona Coyotes come to mind. For the sake of time, I'm going to use the options.
Anaheim Ducks, Buffalo Sabres, Carolina Hurricanes.
Buffalo Sabres, final answer.
All right, DJ Marshy Marsh, final question. This one's easy. Who did the Blues play in the final game of last season, losing 1-0 on the road?
The Dallas Stars, final answer.
All right, let's go over these. Steve versus Marsh. Throughout his career, Marco Scandella has played 7 seasons with the Minnesota Wild, 4 seasons with the St. Louis Blues, 1 season with the Montreal Canadiens, and 3 seasons with which other team? Marsh, you said the Sabres. Steve, you said the Sabres. Correct answer is?
It's the Buffalo Buffaloes. The Sabres.
Steve didn't need the options for that one. 2-1 lead for Steve. Dalibor Dvorsky has primarily played in Sweden. But which country is he from? Steve, you went with Slovakia. Marsh, you went with Slovakia. Correct answer is?
It is, in fact, Slovakia.
But Marsh didn't need the options, whereas Steve did.
Anthony, can you go over the options, please?
Latvia. Slovenia.
Yeah.
And Slovakia.
You did really good this time. Marcia, you'll have to go back.
Charm.
I'll go back and listen. I like to listen.
In fact, when we can, go back and we can play those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're entertaining. It was good, Anthony. You did great. You worked your way through it.
I did say, did you pronounce that Latvia?
No, I mean,
and then I hacked up
it's like
Slovenia.
You're fine, Anthony.
And I just hacked up Slovakia a little bit.
Yeah.
But you stick with it. See, this is how we learn.
Yeah.
You know?
You did great, Anthony.
Thanks, Jamie.
It was something that I missed, and we will absolutely go over it at the end of the show.
No need. 3-3. 3-3 tie between Steve and Marsh. Kasperi Kapanen was drafted 22nd overall in the 2014 NHL draft. By which team? Steve, you took the options. You went with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Marsh, you did not take the options. You rolled right away with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Correct answer is?
It's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It is the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was drafted by the Penguins. Marsh, I could see why you thought Toronto.
You went back to the Penguins, huh?
Yeah. Because it looked like his first kind of real stint was with the Maple Leafs. Nonetheless, Steve's got a 1-point lead.
Interesting.
Heading into this question. Who did the Blues play in the final game of last season? Losing 1-0 on the road. Steve, you took the options. You went with the Minnesota Wilds. Marsh, you did not take the options. You went with the Dallas Stars. If it's the Dallas Stars, because Marsh didn't use the options, Marsh wins today. If it's the Minnesota Wild or the other option, the Vegas Golden Knights, Steve wins, squaring off against Jamie tomorrow for a Gauntlet trophy. Jamie, who did the Blues play in the final game of last season, losing 1-0 on the road?
Well, it was the second game of a back-to-back with the same team at the end of the season. That team was the Dallas Stars.
Steve.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
He needed that question to at least tie you. He didn't need the options. He wins 5-4 today. Steve, nice effort again today, though, man. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a real bummer. When Marshy, said Dallas right away, I was like, he's got me.
Yeah, sorry about
that. Good job, Steve. That was a good round.
That was a good battle.
That was a good battle.
Steve, thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
Hey, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Oskar Sundqvist, I love you, man.
Well done. Well
Tied it in with the old Nolan Arenado deal. Nice job. All right. So Steve makes it to the second round, but Marsh, nice job.
Appreciate
Congratulations on the dub.
Thank you. Man, I was getting a little scared there when you said that he didn't play for Kasperi Kapanen, didn't play for the Maple Leafs. I was like, oh, crap.
Well, he did play for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, he was
drafted. Yeah.
Drafted by the Leafs, or by the Penguins. I don't know if he actually ever played. Never played a game for Pittsburgh until he went back there in 2020, 2021.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Jamie said something about our soccer team yesterday in the office that I was like, what? That would be awesome. That's next on 101 ESPN.
back to it. The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. Jamie, you had said something in the office yesterday, and you normally say brilliant stuff, but this one really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
You said, what if this City SC team, our City SC team, is like the Vegas Golden Knights that just won a title?
Yeah.
And has also, gotten to a title. In fact, they got to their first title in their first year of existence. What did you mean by that, Jamie?
Well, look, everybody always expects the expansion teams to struggle, to suffer, and, okay, maybe the first year is lucky. Let's see if they can do it again next year. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights, they've never taken that step backwards. Their step backwards was not this season that just went by. The year before, they barely missed the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're also riddled with injuries from top to bottom that year. But they still won a lot of hockey games. They're still a very competitive hockey club. So they make the Stanley Cup final their first year, and in their sixth year, they win the Stanley Cup. I mean, why can't City SC be a team like that? When you look at their roster right now, when the roster was constructed, everybody was kind of like, I wouldn't say underwhelmed, but they didn't have some of the star power that some of the other clubs have.
Yeah.
And, Bradley Carnell and Lutz were very clear about what kind of team they were building. And I just watched a documentary on the Vegas Golden Knights. It's called Valiant. It was on Netflix. And people said the same thing about that roster. This might be the worst expansion team ever. I don't even know what they were doing in this expansion draft.
Which is weird because they had some built-in advantages that we knew about going into
But everybody just disregarded that at the start until they started playing. And George McPhee said pretty much almost an identical quote from Herb Brooks in Miracle. Not the best players, it's the right players. Well, George McPhee said, look, we did our homework and we felt that we put the best players together for what we needed to accomplish. Mm-hmm. City SC reminds me of that. They've put together a team where you've got some veteran guys, you've got some good players like Klaus. Again, he's not pretty to watch out there when it comes to the way he kind of runs around, but he's very effective. Edward Leuven was their big signing. He's been good. Giacchini's been great. You look at Roman Berkey, the guy is unbelievable. But the rest of them, Anthony, for the most part, it's just a bunch of guys who fit the exact way that they want to play.
Right.
And so when I was thinking about the Vegas Golden Knights winning the Stanley Cup, and then I'm watching this St. Louis City SC team, and all they keep doing is winning. Mm-hmm. Just when you think the bubble's going to burst, they keep winning. They get riddled with injuries. They keep winning. So what makes me believe that St. Louis City SC is going to have to go through those growing pains, that bad season, and, just wait, this one's a fluke? I don't know if it is. I think that what we're watching is real. Are they always going to be a first-place team? That, to be determined.
Yeah.
But they've given me no reason not to think that this can't be like a Vegas Golden Knights team.
This is what happens when you have a game plan and a vision and you execute it. That's what this is to me. City SC, when they were building the roster, they wanted to have a team that was going to be aggressive on the pitch. It was an aggressive style. You can see, we all watch the games, you could see Bradley Carnell a lot of the times. He is often urging his team to move up the field, press. And when we were listening to national pundits talk about how lucky the team was early on to get so many own goals, it spat in the face of what City SC is trying to accomplish, which is exactly that. Play aggressive, press, force the other teams to make mistakes, and then counter. And everybody that we've talked to since day one has said exactly that. It was no secret. They were going to play aggressive. They wanted to. We were talking to Bradley Carnell and Lutz, Steele, we had them on together, didn't we? They're on the same. I think they're on the same call.
Yeah,
and we were talking to them together. And at the end of it, you and I were asking if we could go there and go to their training sessions and participate in the physicality because we like, oh, this is a great idea. They're executing that. Mm-hmm. They're forcing mistakes, but they had the vision first. Then they got the players, and I loved your thought on the Miracle team because that's what it was. It was a team. And as we talk a lot about the Cardinals and whether or not they're going to be able to operate a full retool or a quick retool, and the Blues, whether or not they're going to execute a retool, the thing that I keep thinking about is it's not just adding talent. I used to say it a lot, just add talent, just add talent. That's not what this is about. It's about building a team. And City SC has a team. And if they continue with the same vision and the same approach, well, I think now the sky's the limit. The expectations are going to rise. You're not going to be able to sneak up on teams. But if you have players that want to play for you because you've had success, then you can up that talent but stay within that structure, that vision. I'm excited to see what the future is with this City team.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't think this is a honeymoon phase that's going to wear off anytime soon.
No, I think it's going to be great.
I do too. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. All right. I talked about these pitching numbers that I have for the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah. The mad scientist.
It's really nothing, to be honest with you. But it does kind of play into what we just talked about.
I don't like when you talk negatively about yourself.
I want to make sure that I'm underselling here.
You did the work. That's something.
Thanks, Jamie.
That we don't usually see.
Boy, I did not see that coming. If I had feelings, they'd be shattered.
I think it's going to be great.
We'll talk more Cardinals and what the real issue is with this team next on 101 ESPN.
Are you right now thinking about selling your home or in your process of getting your home ready to put it on the market? Well, the market's all over the place right now, and you definitely do not have the time or the resources to just sell it with any average agent. You want the best. You want someone who's going to get you to the closing table and get that house sold, and that is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's why. Gloria Liu already has the buyers. This is the best thing about Gloria Liu. She has a database with thousands of ready buyers that are going to create a higher demand for your property, hopefully multiple offers. At the end of the day, more money in your pocket. She's got several different options available to you, but the one I really like is her guaranteed sales option. And what that means is Gloria will sit down with you and figure out the listing price, and she'll sell your home for the agreed upon price, or she buys it herself in handwriting. She guarantees that in handwriting. So please call Gloria Liu. Tell her that Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number is 314-325-6888. Again, that number is 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on the price and possession date.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for Sports Center Update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The National League wins the Major League Baseball's All-Star Game yesterday by a final score of 3-2. Elias Diaz, an unlikely hero for the National League. He earns the MVP. The Cards will be back in action Friday, July 14th, of course, taking on the Washington Nationals. Tonight, City SC, who we just talked about, is taking on LAFC, 9:30 kickoff. And the big news of the day, Oskar Sundqvist is coming back to St. Louis. He signed with the Blues a one-year deal worth $775,000. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center Update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Why weren't you guys more aggressive in terms of adding pitching?
Well, a couple of reasons. Some of the pitchers that we did chase, we just weren't able to get done. And then the other was we really wanted to give some of these guys an opportunity. And you know, when you're trying to give your internal guys, I think the hindsight is probably should have had some depth though to cover for it.
So that was a conversation last night. That audio was from a conversation that was had by Martin Kilcoyne of Fox 2 and John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. And you heard the question from Martin Kilcoyne, and it's a fair one. Why weren't you guys more aggressive when it came to adding pitching? Mo was honest about it. He's wrong about it, but he was honest about why. They liked their options that they had. And after, Jamie, you and I kind of surmised that they went after Carlos Rodon. They didn't get him. He signed him. He signed with the Yankees, and they said, okay, well, we have enough pitching, and we're good. As Mo said, they probably should have had more depth. Yeah, they should have. But, Jamie, I was thinking about this earlier today in the office because there's so much talk about Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia and the All-Star game and the whiffs that this organization had internally on players. So I started thinking about moving forward here with our thought process. Yes, those were mistakes. Yes, those were whiffs. How do you correct the issue moving forward? Well, I think solving problems for a team, in this case, the Cardinals, it's never easy, but starting with why you failed, why you had success. And we have spent so much time talking about why this team has failed, the moves they didn't make or the moves they did make that bit them, that we're overlooking one key thing. Why did they have success from when, and we'll say, all right, they won the World Series. They still had success from 2012 up until this year. And we define success in a variety of ways. They made the World Series one year. 2013 was a World Series year. They also went to the NLCS in 2012 and 14. They went to the NLDS in 2015. They had their 3-year playoff run, or non-playoff run, I should call it, from 16 to 18. They lost in the NLCS in 19, lost in the wild card the last 3 years, and then this year has been a disaster. But why did they have so much success from 2012 to 2022? They had pitching. It's not about Randy Arozarena or Adolis Garcia or whiffing on those. Check this out. And I just did one metric at FIP, fielding independent percentage. To me, it's a better gauge of how a pitching staff actually performs than ERA. So I just use this metric. You can do ERA if you want and go back for yourself. Here's where the Cardinals finished. Their entire pitching staff finished in FIP. In 2012, third. And I'll just do all the years. 3rd, 2nd, 13th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, and I'll stop there. So they were top 11 in pitching, their entire staff, from 2012 to 2019. In 2020, 19th. 2021, 18th. 2022, 16th. This year, 16th. Their pitching has dropped off. That is why they're not having success this year. And to me, it's a culmination. If you take from 2012 to even this year, they're still 5th on average in fielding independent percentage. But from 2020 to 2023, Jamie, 17th with a 4.19. We can sit here and talk about Arozarena, and we can talk about Garcia, and we can talk about players that they didn't sign or they did sign. We can talk about the offense, and the offense is good. You brought this point up earlier. I wouldn't touch the offense outside of those 2 moves that I mentioned.
Yeah.
But, Jamie, if they don't fix the pitching, get back to why they were actually having success in the first place, this will not turn around.
Yeah, I agree. I think where people get angry, too, though, is you had the pitching.
Sure.
You had Alcantara. You had Zach Gallen.
And what did you do? What did you sell out for?
Offense.
Yes. And at the time, we were all complaining about the offense.
Well, and justifiably so, though, too, because the well was running pretty dry on the Cardinals there. And in look at last year in the playoffs, they couldn't produce offense. So even though last year we talked about, the Lester Happ experiment, and then 2 years ago, the Lester Happ, last year, the Quintana, Montgomery acquisitions, it was your offense that failed you.
Sure.
It really was. And the year before, it was your offense that failed you. And the year they went to the National League pennant, it was your offense that failed you.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't your pitching. So when I look at all that stuff, this is why they tried to improve their offense.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they literally turned their back on the pitching side of it, which is never good. You can address one area of need, but you better still sprinkle in a few other things as far as your pitching staff is concerned. You better sprinkle in a few promising young pitchers. But this is where it gets screwy, is they tried to do that. Dakota Hudson and Jake Woodford were supposed to be those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Thompson, another guy. Liberatore, they acquired him because they believed he could bridge the gap. They just evaluated wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if a fan base can be that angry at a staff that just evaluated wrong. You can be super pissed, but he did have a plan. He did try.
Mm-hmm.
John will say, he's the only one involved. They.
Right.
If it wasn't the Cardinals, it was somebody else who's going to draft Dakota Hudson in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Players are ranked where they're ranked for a reason.
Yeah.
So, again, it comes down to talent evaluation, I guess, at the end of the day.
I also think it comes back to vision, though. This has always been an organization that prides itself on pitching up until about 2020. There was a fundamental shift, and I understand why. You weren't producing middle of the order bats within your organization. But this organization for a long time had the ability, even after Dave Duncan, this is why I cut it off at 11, after 11 when they won the World Series, because Tony left and Dave Duncan, it was no longer around. So you had from 2012 to 2019, you finished no lower than 11th when it came to your pitching staff. I think they lost their vision. I think they pivoted to offense. And I understand the need for both. But the bottom never really fell out. Even when you missed the playoffs, you were missing it by the final week or the final day. They really got away from, in my opinion, their ability to draft, to scout, and to develop pitching. They kind of lost their way that way. And the numbers speak for themselves. Again, 17th since 2020 with a 4.19. So unless they figure out the pitching, I don't think that there's going to be any sort of quick turnaround. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. And by the way, I want to promote a couple things we have coming up here. Oskar Sundqvist is going to join us at 5:30. We also have Eddie Olczyk, who's going to join us at 5:15. So we got kind of a hockey-heavy final hour of the show. We got What's Trending coming up in about 20 minutes. But one of the other things that Mo mentioned was that there's going to be no changes when it comes to the coaching staff. Are we surprised, and how long will that last? That's next on 101 ESPN.
You've come to the right place. You're in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Hey, guys. So as you're giving them like, oh, I don't think we can get any better with position, how about if they could run the bases, catch the ball, play better defense? Would that help your pitching staff if they caught the ball, ran the bases right, not be so sloppy? Because that doesn't cost a dime. That costs nothing. I mean, nothing. So if anybody can explain who's in charge of the sloppy play and the bad defense, let's start there, because that's free stuff. That doesn't take their payroll up at all. I'm about to lose my right now. I cannot believe people are not talking about the sloppy play. Did no one watch Sunday? You can't have a weak pitching staff and then keep giving them extra outs and make the pitchers go longer in a game because you can't catch and throw and run a base right. Oh, my God, I'm going to have a heart attack. All right, have a good one.
Well, welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Lisa, thank you very much for the mic drop. She's not wrong, but where I'll push back a little bit here on Lisa is, what was your defense last year? I didn't hear any of the fundamental complaints last year with this team. In fact, I heard a lot of praise for how good they were defensively. And the year before, 5 Gold Gloves. Now, Ollie was on the staff 2 years ago. Ollie was the manager last year. This year has been unacceptable from a defensive standpoint, and there have been a lot of mental mistakes. There is no doubt about that. But do you think all the players just forgot how to play baseball in one half season?
No, I just think they stink defensively this year.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because, and the only reason I bring up last year is because it's almost the exact same team, like same players, and it was definitely the same staff. I mean, Skip was here, but Skip, like, it's not like one guy was controlling the whole defense and making them catch the ball better and run the bases better.
Yeah.
So I don't have any retort for this year because Lisa is bang on with what she's saying. But it's the same group as last year, so I don't know how do you explain that? Is it just because everybody wants Ollie Marmol fired?
Yes, I think that's part of it. Absolutely.
But what was he telling them last year?
He was telling them to play good defense.
Yeah, and this year he just said, forget it.
Yes,
guys,
said,
I don't want you to worry about the defense at all, okay? And when it comes to base running, ignore Stubby and Pop. Just do what you want.
Do what you do. Yeah, that's what.
I don't think that happened.
I think he should try to not do that this time. Here's the thing, too. Like, as far as is nobody watching the game on Sunday, we've talked about it. We've talked about the bad defense. I'll say what I said last week. I feel like anytime we start to talk about one entity on this team, somebody immediately, and sorry, Lisa, you just happen to be the one this time, somebody comes in and says, well, what about this? This is where I say, your whole team stinks. Your whole team is stunk. Your defense is horrible. Lisa, you're right. To the person say, well, what about the starting pitching? Yes, it has been awful. Your bullpen has been disastrous at times. Your managing has been questionable. Your roster construction sucks. It's a bad group. It's a bad team. What else what am I leaving out? Fred Bird. We have talked about Fred Bird mailing it in since 2019 or 2020. 2020, brilliant year. He's been awful since that point. We have talked about every aspect of this team. We can't do it every time we bring up one thing. Oh, this segment's about the pitching staff. Don't forget, Jamie, your defense has stunk too, and so is your base running. The team sucks. That's why you're in last place.
Yeah.
Mo's going to do something at the deadline to fix it. That's kind of what we're talking about. So, Lisa, yes, we know. The base running and the fundamental play has been an absolute joke. We're not going to talk about it every single time we focus on one thing. But it has been. Just trust in Jamie and I that we know that your team stinks. Okay? That our team this year collectively stinks.
They're going to really turn around here in the second half, though.
No, they're
Anthony.
not.
We're going to make some moves, bring in some players, and make a run at it.
All right, here's Mo. We're going to get to Mo, or you want to do the mic drop? No, it's not going to happen. You want the mic drop, Marcia? You take dealer's choice. You want Mo or the mic drop?
Turn your mic on.
Turn your mic on. What do you
Welcome in.
What do you want? You got
warm.
mic drops and you got Mo and the coaching staff. What do we need? We got Mo.
We want Mo.
We want Mo.
want
All right.
Mo.
So Mo, last night, Fox 2 with Martin Kilcoyne about the coaching staff. This should fire up everybody and want everybody to, punch somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think the coaches have any fault in this. They're handed the players. It's unfortunately it didn't work. But I think Ollie and his group do a really good job. They work really hard, and they continue to do that. But I think their level of frustration is probably as real as the fan base.
So if Lisa wasn't upset before, boy, she is furious now.
Her head just spun off, I think.
I think Mo...
Be careful, Lisa. Don't get too angry.
I think Mo... he went too far by saying the coaching staff doesn't have anything to do with it. You have to include the coaching staff. You can support your coaching staff. You can say, well, I thought he brought up a great point. These guys are handed these players. Here's your roster. Do something with this. And the roster wasn't good enough at the start of the season, obviously. I think you could say that. But to say the coaching staff has nothing to do with this, I think he went too far in. And what I imagine is protecting his coaching staff and throwing them a little bit of a bone.
Okay.
But they're culpable too, man. The whole team stinks.
But you can't praise Doug Armstrong for doing the exact same thing and then, blame Mo. Because Army did the same thing with his
Army did not say the coaching staff had nothing to do with the losing.
He worded it differently, yes, but he did say that he believes the coaching staff is, this is my coach, and I believe in what they're doing. And
cool.
Craig and his staff haven't forgot how to coach, and the problem is the delivery and maybe the word selection in that one there. I think Mo would have been better off to say, listen, I don't see us changing from any of the coaching staff right now. We know how hard they're working. We know that they're feeling it just as much as everybody. Mm-hmm. So they're not going anywhere. But we do realize that this is a group effort, and collectively, the entire group has failed. There. So you've protected your coaching staff, but you also aren't, absolving them of any kind of wrongdoing.
Correct. We're in agreement on that. Here's Mike on the fundamentals, or lack thereof, of the Cardinals.
It's not about different defensive players out there. It's lack of concentration on fundamentals. Whenever you let a team start slacking on their fundamentals, whenever you start letting them slack on certain little details of the game, that's whenever you take things for granted. That's whenever players start booting the ball. It's whenever players start throwing the ball wild. You got to have better discipline. Something happens, you need to bench that player. Set an example.
Yeah, but when Ollie called out Tyler O'Neill, everybody lost their minds.
Well, they're like, oh, he's this poor guy.
You can't handle it that way.
And which I disagreed. I think he could have, especially if you'd already said it behind closed doors before.
Exactly. They talked to Tyler O'Neill about his hustle in spring training. And I don't know if I let the cat out of the bag there, if that was inside information that I shouldn't have just shared, but it's out. They talked to him in spring training about his lack of hustle. Certain veteran players went to Ollie, hey, this isn't acceptable. What you saw earlier in the season was a product of a conversation they already had behind closed doors. And you blasted Ollie. You blasted him. Should have kept it behind closed doors. Come on, guys. Hold them accountable.
We got that voice.
Unless I don't like what you just did.
Do it again.
Come on, man.
Give me another one.
And Mike, no offense, but we've had this conversation with BT and with others on the record and off the record. They're still going over fundamentals. They are practicing every single day that they're at the ballpark. They go over ground balls, fly balls, different scenarios. When a young player especially, makes a mistake, you see the coaching staff right there with that young player. Guys, it's about execution. At what point do we turn around and say, oh, I don't know, the players could be an issue? I hacked up 9 words in the Gauntlet today. I'm not blaming Tommy Mattern, our boss. I'm blaming me and this stupid brain. Sorry, brain. You're fine. You try.
This is random.
You know what I mean?
No, go ahead. Anthony, get it. Get yourself.
Had a horrible segment. Tommy Mattern. That's his fault. No, I stunk.
Well, indirectly, it's his fault because he hired you.
Okay, but... ipso facto. Do you get what I mean? Okay, Nolan Arenado waits on a ball. He's an absolute stud of a defender, one of the best defenders I've ever seen. Waits, and throws over. Guy's safe. That damn Ollie Marmol, he's not telling him to throw. Come on, guys. These are big league ball players. Some of them making millions of dollars.
Yeah, they're being paid pretty
It's
good.
about execution.
It's good work if you can get it.
Just Anthony. He's going to get it all.
Whoa, Janet. I need a break now. Maybe a cigarette.
You need a shower.
What's Trending is next on 101 ESPN.
You're listening to The Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN. What's trending in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered. What's trending now?
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a half-price Cardinals ticket voucher.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Guys, Oskar Sundqvist is back in the Blue Note. He signed with the Blues to a one-year deal. And Jamie, you were saying for, I don't know, maybe the past month or so, maybe even longer, that Oskar Sundqvist would be a great fit here with the Blues, this version of the Blues. And we know that he's been going to the City SC games. So it seems like a great fit for the city of St. Louis and Oskar Sundqvist, who will be joining us, by the way, at 5:30.
Yeah, it's a great addition. Again, you got a guy that you know, that you like, that understands what this coaching staff is expecting. He knows the city. I mean, look, I don't know where he's at health-wise. He's battled some injuries over the last couple seasons, but, you know, if he slots in to be your fourth-line center, this is an incredible signing. You got him for right at league minimum to come in as a Stanley Cup champion, a guy who's going to be a part of your penalty kill, who can win you big faceoffs, who's going to block shots, he's going to make hits. I think it's an outstanding move by Doug Armstrong. And I think it's a great move by Oskar Sundqvist. He's going to have the ability to reset his market here. And it's going to be important that he does, because the salary cap's going to go up substantially moving into the following season. So teams that see Oskar Sundqvist play well will definitely be, probably more apt to open up the wallet for him a little bit. Heck, it might be the Blues that open up the wallet for him again. So a great signing for both the individual and the hockey club.
He'll join us at 5:30.
He will be joining
Oskar
us at 5:30. Eddie Olczyk coming up next, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
So get your hockey talk, the hockey fix. Last night, National League, first win in quite some time against the American League, a 3-2 victory. Elias Diaz of the Colorado Rockies won the game's MVP. He hit a home run, a 2-run shot. What did you guys think of the game last night? Were you entertained? Was it more entertaining than the home run derby?
Oh, it was riveting. I mean, I was absolutely not glued to my TV set at all.
Jamie. Is there an all-star game anymore that you're really interested in?
Anthony, I didn't watch 1 second. That's not true. I watched the first inning. I saw Zach Gallen pitch a score.
I don't know what these leagues
Then I got
can
mad
do.
and broke my TV.
All right, that's fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what these leagues can do. When I was a kid, I used to love the All-Star games. I used to love the Pro Bowl. I used to love the MLB All-Star. I used to love the NBA All-Star game. I used to love the NHL All-Star game. I loved them. But the older I got, the less interested I became. The Pro Bowl, when they had, what a joke. Like, I don't care one iota.
That's not even a thing anymore.
I don't know what you do, though. I'm not even calling it a problem. I have no solution. It's just, it's not this incredible draw. Had it on. I wasn't glued to my TV, though.
I think it had its moments. I think the first inning was pretty entertaining. I thought
a couple of nice catches.
The last inning was entertaining. You had what could have been, like a Hollywood type ending with Julio Rodriguez up to the plate, runner on first. He's the go-ahead run to win the game. He could have walked off in Seattle. Of course, he gets walked because, that's just how the baseball goes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have rather seen a pitch clock violation end that game. That's
just
what
a troll.
Do they even have the pitch clock? I wasn't really paying attention that hard.
I mean, they may have, but I don't think they did.
But I mean, first of all, they need to get rid of those jerseys. They're terrible.
Yeah,
they're horrible. They were wearing a lot of people think they were black pants. I think they were navy blue based on the color scheme.
You can't go blue and black together. I mean, Marsh, you know that.
No, I know that.
Come on.
But they had like a navy blue jersey, at least for the National League, and navy blue pants. I'm like, this looks awful. If your product on the field, at least the entertainment value, isn't going to be, what a lot of people want it to be, like, for instance, you two saying you don't really care about the All-Star game, at least make it look good. Go back to what it used to be.
Why don't they
have the teams just wear the jerseys?
Why don't they just wear their home jerseys and the other team wear their road jerseys?
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe, though, because some of the teams, their home and their road jerseys, like for the Cardinals, they got the white and the gray.
Well, that's how it should be.
But where does that fall in then?
Bradford Bruns, who's going to be pinch hitting for Marshy in a couple of days here, he had the ultimate signal, of course, why they don't do that with the uniforms.
Well, can somebody let me in on that, please?
It's about money.
Money, yeah.
You could sell the Julio Rodriguez All-Star jersey.
Right, but why can't they used to do that for the home run derby, so they'd wear the basically the all-star jersey for the home run derby, and then they would wear their normal uniform for the game. Now it's the opposite. They wear their normal jersey for the home run derby and the ugly all-star jersey for the game. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Marsh,
this is one of those things that just irritates the you-know-what out of me.
I know I just went full Anthony mode in the last segment there. But I love your passion about the All-Star game and the home run derby. The last 2 days, we have gotten just passionate takes from Andrew Marsh. You were so passionate about the format yesterday, the All-Star and the home run derby, and then you get the All-Star game, the jerseys. I could tell. Can you feel the anger, the heat from the other side of the
I've been waiting since all day. I've been waiting until 5 o'clock to talk about these MLB All-Star jerseys.
You've been quiet today. You've been quiet. You've just been locked and loaded, ready to talk about these All-Star jerseys.
We've been talking about Mo, which we will also get to here in a second, because I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people watch the All-Star game, is for it to finish to listen to what Mo had to say.
Right.
I mean, that's exactly what I did, because I could not stand looking at these jerseys for 9 straight innings.
Marshy, I'll tell you what, okay? You're 100% right about these jerseys.
They could at least made the dark jerseys, at least give them gray pants. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? We're in agreement.
Thank you.
The hats
did a great job.
The hats were dumb. Don't get me started on the hats.
The hats were honestly the worst part of it.
What I liked the most was the National League just having a big block N on the batting helmet. I mean, Great Britain put more effort into their uniforms at the WBC.
They were the first thing that came to my mind.
Great Britain.
Yeah.
Who do you play for? Well, it's right here on my chest.
It's literally like they forgot, and they got to the WBC and were like, whoa, we have blank uniforms. Hang on, I saw a guy at a mall with a heat press. You got a lot of G's?
Somebody get on the paint program on their computer, do up a couple of mocks, and then we'll get the press guy there.
Fire up your favorite font.
Yeah.
I would love to know what the text line is saying.
Times New Roman.
Block letters, please.
Let's see what the... here we go. I like the jerseys. Just wanted white pants instead of black. The helmets were bad, though. Marsh, I agree. Tell Marsh to stop hanging out with that fashionista Jackson.
Oh, yeah, Jackson's clearly a fashionista.
He is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, last night after the All-Star game, John Mozeliak had a one-on-one with Martin Kilcoyne of Fox 2, and... we got some interesting stuff from Mo, and we talked about that today. But just overall, once again, what were you guys' thoughts on the whole interview?
At first listen/watch, I felt like, okay, it was long overdue to get a little bit more behind the curtain with John Mozeliak. I thought Marty Kilcoyne did a great job, but I would have rather be a little more long form, to where there's other people that can ask some questions too, like Derek Gould and John Denton and other people involved. And I understand it was an exclusive for Fox 2, and they did a great job with it. Part of me was like, it's kind of fluff. It felt a little bit like John Mozeliak was doing this just to kind of fulfill the duty of, okay, I talked to the fans, check mark. Then the other part of it, I was like, that's fine. He's finally admitting to things we already knew the answers to. Didn't really give us more.
Right.
So I don't know. I left there feeling a little unsatisfied, Anthony.
Sure. Yeah, Jamie, and I apologize about that you felt that way.
I'll make up for it.
Yeah.
Anthony would never let that happen.
No, he doesn't. That's for sure.
No, you're darn right about that. What are we talking about?
Mo's interview.
Oh, Mo. I thought there was only one thing that was somewhat slightly interesting, and that was when he talked about pivoting towards 2024 and moves and decisions that they're going to make moving forward will be about next year. Now, execute it. That was one of the things that we talked about yesterday. One of the things that I mentioned when we were talking about Mo and what we want to hear from him. I wanted some sort of, hey, this year has been awful. We're going to think about next year. The decisions we make will be about next year. If I heard any sort of, well, you never know, and this, that, and the other thing, Jamie and I would be shopping for new TVs today.
I already am.
Really? What TV would you get?
Probably a Vizio.
A Vizio?
I prefer the
Samsung. Those are
that
nice.
to me, because you can download all the apps and everything.
The smart TVs,
Yeah,
they call them.
very smart.
We got a Samsung in the bedroom. We got Vizio in the family room.
Huh.
Would you get
Just brought you in our home.
like a big
Brought
TV?
me in the bedroom
I did.
again.
A big TV, bigger the better.
You weren't there last time.
That wasn't my house.
It's neighbor Dave.
Probably. Shout out neighbor Dave.
You get a big TV?
Absolutely, Marsh. Bigger the better.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Sometimes just because it's big doesn't mean it's quality. You know, you can go down
What's
to
the frame rate on that bad
certain
boy?
stores and buy, the biggest one you
Is
can
it a 1080p?
find. Massive. But then, the quality's not very good. And then you find a smaller one, but man, is it good. The quality's impeccable.
Yeah. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter.
The
Marcy's
frames
here
per
as well.
second,
Yeah,
It is.
no, it's true.
It's all about the frames per
Absolutely.
second.
You don't
What's
want
the
it to be
analytics
too
on that,
fast,
Marsh?
You don't want it too fast.
What's the analytics on the
enjoy what
TV
you're
that you
watching.
got?
The one that I have?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully it's at least a 60 frame per second.
Okay, good. Yeah.
The bit rate's pretty good for video games.
Well, that's all. That's important.
There it
it's about
is.
a-
You got to the end of it right
There
there.
we
Like
go.
a 55 incher.
Marsh is going to go look at some uniforms. The All-Star for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk to Eddie Olczyk of TNT. We'll get his thoughts on the Blues offseason thus far, including the latest signing, which was Oskar Sundqvist today, who will join us at 5:30. But first, Eddie Olczyk next on 101 ESPN.
first place in their division years ago. The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with former Blues defenseman Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to our celebrity line. We're joined by TNT hockey analyst Eddie Olczyk right now. What's up, Eddie? How are you?
I'm well, Anthony. Jamie, nice to be with you guys. Hope there was no off season ever, but I hope you guys are doing well and enjoying a little bit of off time during the hockey season.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, you're right. The off season continues, and the Blues have been active. It's really my first question for you, Eddie. From a national viewpoint, dating back to last year's trade deadline, which is where Army started this retool. What's the national viewpoint of the Blues off season?
Well, I think it was probably needed. I don't think there's any doubt that the Blues needed a change of some sorts, and obviously contracts and players being in positions of leverage to you want to get assets for players regardless if they're a little bit longer in the tooth, like a guy like Ryan O'Reilly, or you bring in a guy like like Kevin Hayes. But at the end of the day, I think that I'm sure last season was a great disappointment for the Blues, and expectations with some of the contracts that Army has handed out, and the expectations of where they were a few years ago with hoisting the Stanley Cup. So I can't speak for anybody else, obviously, but for me, I think it's it's something where change is good. And could there be some other changes on the horizon if it doesn't change course or get to a position where they can be as competitive as they were a couple of years ago? And is there something a little bit larger on the horizon? And is there another way to tweak a little bit? And you need to continue to see the maturation and the consistency from. Jamie can correct me or not. I mean, your two probably most prolific offensive players, and Kyrou and Thomas now. I mean, those guys, have to take, another step. I know Thomas, the goals weren't there last year, but, Kyrou seems to be a guy that's going to get you 35 or 40 every year, and that's what you're going to need. And so it'll be really interesting how it all plays out moving forward. So long-winded, not surprised with the changes, and sometimes – like I said, situations dictate the terms, and Army, not many guys that sit in that chair have more experience than Doug Armstrong, and reading the room, reading the feel of the club, and knowing that change has to happen, and they've certainly done that over the last couple of years.
Eddie, you've worked so many games, of course, your career, but it's certainly in the last couple of seasons. I'm sure you've come across watching Kevin Hayes. Him being traded out of Philly, I don't think there's any surprise there. But Doug Armstrong acquiring Kevin Hayes, what do you think of that deal by Army?
Well, I mean, he's gonna generate some offense. I mean, look, I think he's better offensively than O'Reilly was or is. I think Kevin has that ability to be able to generate offense, make a little bit more offensive plays, maybe a little bit more difficult offensive plays. Jamie, some guys, if they see it, they can make the play. Other guys can make the play without seeing it, if that makes any sense. And I think Kevin has that ability. Now, the one thing that is very similar is, both guys, and I can relate because I was not overly quick player. And when you get a little bit older, the last time I checked, saying this in all due respect to the PC world, is that mother and father time are undefeated. And when you get older and you're not a great skater, you got to rely on instincts and anticipation. And I think that's where Kevin Hayes can certainly do that. So is he as good in the faceoff dot? No. Will he be able to kill some penalties? I believe he will. I don't know what Chief has planned for Kevin Hayes, but, look, you need guys that create and generate offense, Jamie. You know that. And I think a guy like Kevin Hayes can certainly do that for the Blues, and will be able to make some plays that, I still believe a lot. I mean, he'll be able to make some plays a lot of guys can't. And if you're going to win in this league, you're going to need guys that are difference makers. And I think he has that ability to be able to do that still, after all these years in the league.
Eddie, the fan base here in St. Louis, a lot of the focus has been on the D-core for the Blues. It was a down year last year for the Blues overall, but the D-core didn't have their greatest season collectively. From a national standpoint, and when you watch the Blues play, do you still believe that the current core that they have in place can get the job done for them?
Well, I mean, I don't know why not. I mean, it is about, a collection of a lot of different players. And I mean, they have to stay healthy. I mean, that's such an important part of being able to, to have that cohesion. And Jamie, you were a defenseman for a long time in the league, but you need your guys to get to what you expect, right? I mean, you need Falk, you need Krug, you need Parayko. I mean, you need guys, like that. I think my pal Nick Leddy is still there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because I've kind of gotten off the grid here the last little while. But goaltending. I'm not zeroing in on goaltending. It's just that this is an overall statement or feel is that goaltending can camouflage a lot of deficiencies. I don't care what type of D you have or what type of forward you have or the type of style you have. If you can get that consistent goaltending, it's going to camouflage some holes and what have you. Now, in saying that, if you have a really good team D and you really have a team that can limit, and I think that's the one thing I don't think Vegas got enough credit for during their run. And look, we had the Stanley Cup on TNT this year, but we tried to like they're pretty damn good defensively. So you're not asking your goaltender to make 14 A-plus type of saves a game. Maybe you're asking them for 7 or 8, but you're not asking them for 14 or 15, which a lot of teams end up giving up. So, it's probably a loaded question, Jamie. But you need your guys to stay healthy for sure. But you need guys to be able to help your goaltending out a little bit. And if you do that, then you're going to be in a lot of games. And then you have the guys to be able to put the puck into the back of the net. So I think they do, because when I look at the experience, I go, yeah, man, they should be, they should be better. But, maybe it was just one of those years where it's a one-off and you can, get back. But look, they've made, as you guys know, they've made a lot of changes here over the course of the last couple of years. And they certainly want to get back to, as I said a little bit earlier, get back to, where everybody in St. Louis certainly wants the Blues to be come playoff time.
Last question for TNT hockey analyst Eddie Olczyk here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Eddie, what, if anything, are the Blues missing right now? Could be stylistically or position-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think it's just going to be really interesting to see kind of. I mean, I don't know if they have any guys that are on the cusp of breaking through. Is there somebody there that can take a step? Like the one thing I will say is, Sammy Blais, it's just amazing that he has been able to come back to St. Louis and he's a hard player. He's a guy that's plays a bigger body and he's found his offense back in St. Louis, which has been a great pickup by Army. So, I think to me, I would just look at it and go, can they defend enough? Can they get the saves? And then, will that breed some confidence up and down the lineup? So, but to me, it'll be really interesting to see how, some of these moves will pay off, not only in the first, 3-4 months of the regular season, but, how everything plays out here with all the moves that Army made, as you guys mentioned when you brought me on,
from the kind of pre-trade deadline, and then obviously over the course of the summer and free agency, and then into next season. Because look, I mean the Western Conference is a bear. I mean it's a bear. I mean, forget the Central. I mean, I shouldn't say forget the Central Division. I mean the Central Divisions. There's some teams that have taken a hit there, but like the Western Conference it's tough. And are you going to need 98 points? Are you going to need 97 points? Can you come up with that? Because at the end of the day, guys, when you look at the regular season, in my opinion, and I've learned this over the years as playing, coaching, and broadcasting, there's going to be 20 games where every team is going to be lights out, and they're going to win probably 80 to 95% of those games. Then you're going to have 20 games of the 82 that you're not going to have it. Schedule, you feel like your legs are a baggage claim, you got injuries, the whole nine yards. What separates the league, the good teams from the very good teams is those other 40 games, those other 42 games. What do you do with those? Are you a 500 team? Are you 5 or 6 games under? So, if you can take advantage of that and stay healthy, you give yourself a chance. But in the Western Conference right now, just thinking off the top of my head, I think you're going to need 97 plus points to make the playoffs, because you got some teams that have improved, and I'm sure everybody's pretty happy with the clubs right now. But Jamie, as you know, they should get to training camp. All of a sudden, you're going to sit there. Oh, yeah, well, maybe we're only an 84 and 85 point team, and then it ends up being a long season when you have expectations of making the playoffs.
Eddie, great stuff. We always enjoy your insights. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing some off-season thoughts with us. We'll sure to check back with you again at some point.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good summer.
You too. Thanks, Eddie.
Take care,
Appreciate you. That's Eddie Olczyk here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We're going to stick with the hockey thing. We're going to talk to Oskar Sundqvist, fresh off re-signing with the Blues on a one-year deal, or coming back to St. Louis. Oskar Sundqvist, Sonny, will join us next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Happy summer from the Johnny Londoff Chevrolet family. The Londoff family, as you know, have been in business for over 80 years. I've been a customer for over 20 years and a friend of the family. Absolutely love every vehicle I've gotten from Londoff Chevrolet, and I've loved the experience, because going there is stress-free. You can get online, you can get pre-qualified, you can line up test drives, and when you get there, they're going to take fantastic care of you. By the way, they've got 2 locations now. The original location in Florissant, Missouri, and the new Londoff Autoplex located out there in St. Peters, right off of Highway 70. Get to either location, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. They're going to talk to you about what you're looking for. They're going to offer you different options, whether it's a brand new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle. You are getting a really good vehicle. And the process, again, is simple. It's easy, and the sales staff there and everybody over at Londoff Chevrolet, they can treat you like family, because they want to make sure that you come back again and buy your next vehicle, and your kids buy their vehicles there, your neighbors buy their vehicles there. They want to make sure everybody is completely satisfied with whatever vehicle they've got. And of course, the aftercare. They've got state-of-the-art service center at both locations. Take care of anything you need with your vehicle. So don't wait any longer. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or pre-owned vehicle, go see my friends at Londoff Chevrolet. If you can't get there in person, visit them online at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Oskar Sundqvist, who will join us next. He is now a St. Louis Blue, the second time he returns to St. Louis. We'll talk with him. We talked earlier today with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic. And, of course, we just got done talking with Eddie Olczyk, analyst for TNT. If you missed any of those interviews, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com. Check out the 101 mobile app as well. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We talked about John Mozeliak as he sat down with Martin Kilcoyne of Fox 2 last night after the All-Star game. A ton of conversations. So once again, if you missed any of those conversations, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the 101 mobile app. Oskar Sundqvist in the Fast Lane coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. With former Blues defenseman Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to the celebrity line where we're joined by Oskar Sundqvist, who signed a one-year deal to return to the St. Louis Blues. And Oskar, first of all, congratulations. And just want to tell you, man, a lot of Blues fans are fired up to see you back, and they can't wait to see you back, on the ice here in St. Louis. So congrats, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Very excited to be back and play for the Blues again. Can't wait to get started.
Sonny, welcome back again. And also, look, free agency comes around. I know you're in town because we see you all over the place. You're popping up at City SC games, and people know that you're here and start to talk about you a little bit as a possible free agent signing. But free agency hits. Take us behind the scenes a little bit, because I know I've been there. It can be stressful at times. It can also be exciting. Take us through the process and what led you to signing with the St. Louis Blues.
We kind of knew it was going to be a...
I think we lost him. Yep. He's driving around. He's excited.
Very excited.
Never really anything that we liked. So in the end, we decided why not go back to a place that's familiar and the city, especially just love playing there. So it's just all bonus to come back.
Sonny, how big of a role did Craig Berube have in your decision to come back here? Because I know you love playing for Chief.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He had a big role. Having a coach that I had before and a good relationship with and won a cup with. So he definitely had a big role in that decision.
Sonny, we were just talking about it in the break. We know that and Jamie just mentioned this, you're a huge St. Louis City SC fan. Are you fired up for the game against, the match against LA tonight?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Me and my girlfriend have a flight to catch here and tomorrow to Sweden, but we're definitely going to try and stay awake for that one.
Have you always been a soccer fan, or is it something that just came about and you just fell in love with the St. Louis City SC team?
Yeah, no, I always been a soccer fan. Especially in Sweden, growing up, soccer everywhere. So I was super pumped when the St. Louis got a team, and then I got traded, and then I was like, oh shoot. But super happy to be back here now and seeing a couple of games. They're a lot of fun, and it's an amazing stadium to go to.
Sonny, with the last couple of seasons, you've battled a couple of injuries, and sometimes that's tough to kind of get your rhythm back. Do you look at this season with the Blues as an opportunity to kind of reset your market value out there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's going to be our first summer where I'll be able to work out and actually train for a full-on summer without having to rehab something. So I'm very, very excited to do that and get back to kind of like my old self and and come back stronger than I was before. So I'm super excited.
Oskar Sundqvist joining us right now here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Is there a teammate that you're mostly excited to see come camp time? And which teammates do you feel as though that you work the best with when it comes to your line combinations?
My previous stint and kind of everywhere I go, I've been up and down everywhere, so or up and down. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously I play with Blaze a lot, so that would be fun to be back with him. And I'm just excited to be back and get training camp started.
Sonny, what just individually or personally for you, what do you think you can bring to this team for the upcoming season that maybe they were lacking last year?
I feel maybe a little consistency and kind of playing the game that I know that St. Louis Blues wants to play. I feel like they kind of lost that a little bit, and hopefully I can help getting the guys back on track and being the hard team to play against, like the Blues were when we won the Cup. So hopefully I can help out with that as much as possible.
Well, I'm sure you can. We appreciate your time, Oskar. Thank you. Welcome back to St. Louis, or welcome back to the Blues, I should say. And enjoy the match tonight as St. Louis City SC takes on LA.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for having me.
All right, thank you, Oskar.
Have a safe trip, Sonny.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. That's Oskar Sundqvist here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Sorry for the connection. That just happens. Live radio. Sometimes it happens where you get a bad connection. But great stuff with the signing of Oskar Sundqvist. Adds to the depth. And, Jamie, for those who missed it earlier, you were doing kind of a mock lineup, line combinations, and defense pairings. What do you got?
Yeah, so this is just, I threw it together rather quickly, but there was some research done in it. And for the first line, I had Pavel Buchnevich playing with Thomas and Kyrou. I think that could be a really offensively gifted line. I think that your next line here has the potential of being a scoring line, but if you end up on the road for matchups, you like to have a certain defensive line. Well, this one here can play both roles. You got Saad playing with Schenn and Kapanen. And then the next line, Hayes, Blais, and Verona, I think that those two lines can kind of flip-flop and handle the defensive assignments against some of the other team's top lines. And then on my fourth line currently, the one and only Oskar Sundqvist, who we were just talking to, him centering Toropchenko and Jake Neighbors. I have Mackenzie McEachern and Nathan Walker kind of starting the season on the outside looking in. And then the D-core would be Leddy, Parayko, Krug, Falk, Perunovic, Bortuzzo, Tucker, Scandella, and then Rosen. So a lot of mouths to feed on the back end. We'll see, how that plays out come training camp and how it looks in preseason. And usually things kind of sort themselves out automatically. But if not, you never know. Doug Armstrong, he's got his phone on all the time, and he's always working away. And maybe there's a change, maybe there isn't. But that's the lineup the mock lineup that I've put together.
There you go. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. What you missed, criticisms, compliments, next on 101 ESPN.
Are you in the market right now for aftermarket windows? Are you looking to get your windows replaced? Well, go choose Window World, the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. Window World windows are one of two windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They're also ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Why are they ranked number one? Well, because they use a double-strength glass that gives it a strength not commonly found in other replacement windows. And also, customer service. It's top of the list for my friends over at Window World. In that customer service, they also offer a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. Also with their customer service, they're offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So please don't wait any longer. If you're looking to replace your windows, replace them with the best as far as product goes and replace them using the best company in town. That's Window World. So give them a call at 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800, or look them up at windowworld.com.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with some criticisms and some compliments.
Yeah, before we get into that, I found the audio from the Gauntlet, and I thought I could share it because Jamie was asking for it.
Yeah, Jamie was very passionate.
I wasn't sure if what I was
hacking, you know what
in
you
real
heard.
time was actually happening, so...
It's fair. I was terrible.
No, Anthony, I'm sure it sounds way better than I remember.
No, it didn't. Go ahead.
All right, and this is basically not the first time I'm hearing it because obviously I had to cut it up, but I haven't listened to it all the way through, so I'm excited to
great. Absolutely. Go
really
ahead.
Get a good listen.
Is it? What is it, Latvia?
Yeah, that's how they start it over, Andrew. He's doing his little thing. He's pouting right now. This is his version of holding his breath and stomping his feet.
What was that? Was that Jamie's microphone during the Gauntlet?
No, it's Anthony just crumbling paper on purpose.
Well, I need to recycle it.
Child.
Here, there's a recycling bin.
You're playing my mistakes. Go ahead, Marsh. I won't do it. Go ahead. Is it? What is it, Latvia?
Yeah, that's how they say that.
Latvia, Slovenia.
Nope,
Slovenia. Or Slovakia.
There you go.
2 for 3, Anthony.
Sorry.
What were the options again?
Latvia. Thanks, Steve. Slovenia or Slovakia? Slovakia. What an idiot. I apologize to those countries.
They listen. Terrible. They know.
All of them. The whole country. Sorry.
Anthony, it's just
bad.
Great.
It was bad.
No, it was great. It was great that he made you.
Everybody else.
It's great that he made you repeat them.
Do you think he meant to do that?
No. No. I think it was just my dumb luck. That's Steve. In fairness to Steve, I hacked up the countries, so he probably was like, what? These aren't real countries.
He got the answer right, though.
He did.
Yeah.
Slovenia.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to criticisms and compliments. Let's start with the mic drop that we got from Ryan earlier today. He called Mo a joke. Mm-hmm. We did get a text from the 314. We always appreciate listener-on-listener crime.
Ooh.
From the 314, Ryan probably got first place in his fantasy baseball league and thinks he can be a better GM than Mo.
Whoa. Listener-on-listener crime, huh?
That's pretty good.
Congratulations on your victory. What? I'm trying to be nice. No.
We got a funny text message from the 636 in regards to Killian sleeping on Tupperware. That kid is prepping to play in the KHL.
Yes, he is.
Well said.
That would be on the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, you can help him out in that.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, son,
I've told that story before.
This is what you can expect.
Uh-huh.
That's
and
really
the rookies
funny.
sit on the bags in the middle of the plane.
Unreal.
That's unbelievable.
And it wasn't an actual plane. You were talking about the seats were all all over the place, weren't
the
they?
plane started out that it was like the military, where everybody's like sitting up against, and the middle is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all sitting on the sides of the plane, and all the hockey gear was in the middle of the plane. And there weren't enough seat belts or areas so they make the rookies, the young kids, sit on the bags in the middle of the plane. So then the players complained and said, it's unacceptable. So they kept the same plane, ripped out all the side seats, and then just went to like the plane junkyard and got seats from any chair. Like every chair was mismatched. They weren't lined up properly. One guy would have like tons of leg room. The other guy with his knees are touching the seat, and they just bolted them in for the next trip.
Wow. Welcome. So you want to be a hockey player.
And then we'd fly. We got a 12-hour flight from one end of Russia to the other end. It's crazy.
Oh, jeez.
That was a funny text.
We did get a text from the 314. I think this might be Ryan. He said, text that blank to my face, blank. Blank.
Ryan's not having it.
I think that might be Ryan. I don't know who else it would be.
We should start our own rough and rowdy going on.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
Seriously, is there anything better than listener on listener?
There really isn't. I don't know.
We encourage everybody to be nice, though.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. From the 636, actually, this is from Dylan. I have one compliment and one complaint. My compliment is the YouTube live stream. It's cool to have a new platform to listen to you guys. But my complaint is that we can see you guys. All of you definitely have faces for radio. All jokes, you guys are great. Love the show. I think that might be Dylan that rolled his ankle.
Oh, man.
I think.
Dylan, if that is Dylan rolled his ankle.
You have left yourself wide open here.
Yeah, let's make sure it is actually him, because I don't want to start. You're right, Jamie. I don't want to start buzzing the tower.
Yeah.
When poor Dylan is not the actual, the one that snapped his
No,
ankle.
it is. Yep.
It is?
Yeah, it totally is.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Ryan.
No,
Dylan.
Sorry, Ryan. He's still seething. Dylan got worked at knocker ball.
I think he worked himself.
And then he worked himself into a broken ankle. And he's complaining about our faces. We were the first faces there to console you, Dylan.
It is true.
We're there to extend a hand out to help you. Anthony blocked the visual with the knocker ball.
Oh, man.
So that people weren't throwing up.
I'll still never remember. I'll still never forget
Dylan.
that.
We appreciate you listening, buddy.
I'll never forget the sound that, as you noted, I was moving the knocker ball.
Sound.
No, well, not the sound of his ankle. I didn't hear that.
No,
But I was moving the knocker ball because the crowd was right there, and as I was doing it, Dylan got he got to like his backside so he can hold up his ankle, and as he did that, he held up the ankle just before I get the knocker ball in front of him, and the whole crowd goes, "Oh!" as they saw the ankle.
The poor bugger. I hope you're doing good, buddy.
Yeah,
That's a tough
definitely.
injury. We appreciate you big time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for everybody listening. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow from 2 to 6. We have instant replay coming up for Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Everybody, again, if you're driving home, drive home safely. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow from 2 to 6. See you.